laughing like a moron at it. Do it, y'all. Thank God it's... Yeah! Here it goes. Do it with me. Thank God it's... Oh! Yeah! It's Friday, people. It's Friday, my dudes and my dudettes. And the Rob Brown Show is ready to get weird and to have a little fun for the next 4 hours of our lives. People, let's get it. I am Rob Brown, the great Malonzo on the other side of the metaphorical glass, in charge of this and every radio program that you ever heard and enjoyed. If you didn't enjoy it, he didn't work on that one. If you finished and you went, damn, Delilah's on fire tonight, Lonzo was running that show. That's how good he is. We're glad to have you. I'm in a weird spot because on one hand, exhausted. On the other hand, hashtag worth it. Stayed up. I hope not yet. I haven't done anything worth it yet that I'm aware of, buddy. But I got to tell you, despite the fact that, and I do wonder if there was anybody in the production truck that did the old Captain Kirk facepalm. I loved the end of that game last night. 34-7 Chargers win over the Lions. Preseason scores, games, not games.
Watched the second half this morning. Saw all the things that you're about to talk about this morning fresh in my mind.
Preseason scores don't matter. Games do. We have seen 0-4 teams be very good in the regular season. We have seen 4-0 preseason teams be very bad. If I recall correctly, the 0-16 Lions were 4-0 that year in the preseason. Preseason scores don't matter. That, Chris Collinsworth, is different than preseason games don't matter. They do. How much do they matter? I think Trey Lance may have earned a job last night. Former third overall selection to the San Francisco 49ers, Trey Lance, got traded to the Dallas Cowboys from the 49ers, Trey Lance. A cat that we kind of thought was going to end up being, and he still may be, as he has had through, what's it been, 4 seasons in the NFL after being the third overall selection. I believe he started 5 games, which is the fewest of any quarterback selected inside of the top 5 picks.
Slow down, dude. Slow down. I mean, he was out there with he has NFL experience going up against a bunch of guys who do not. Out there, their first chance to be in the show. Don't know if it's their only chance to be in the show. Nerves, everything. He was calm. Did he look good? Yeah, but he looked good against that competition.
Sure. And I think one of the points that
I don't think Detroit played like any starters at all. So
one of the points that got made was exactly that. I don't think the Lions started a day one starter on defense last night. So it's on one hand, this is what drives narratives, because it is fair to wake up this morning.
His passes were pretty though.
Passes look great.
Yeah, they did.
It is fair to wake up this morning if you are a Chargers fan, if you're Jim Harbaugh, and go, all right, they left Trey Lance out there for a pretty long time. Played the entire first half, played a good chunk of the third quarter before they turned it over to Uiagalelei. Former Clemson Tiger turned to Oregon State Beaver turned Florida State Seminole.
And then did he get hurt? Oh, I'm sorry. I was waiting for the part where he got benched or hurt or something.
No, DJ Uiagalelei.
I don't remember what happened at Florida State, but he didn't finish the season, right?
So
that's
it did not go well.
Yeah.
It did not go well. DJ Uiagalelei came in, he threw 3 passes, went 2 of 3. Like, okay. I don't think we got enough to say anything. I will say this. He had, of the 3 passes that he threw, 2 of them, short and medium yardage, 2 of them were dots. 2 of them, I'm like, all right, he's under pressure. He's getting away from guys. He dropped the dot. There would be, and I mean this, and I do not think this is going to happen. But would the funniest possible thing not be DJ Uiagalelei going on to be an NFL stud? Would that not be the funniest thing to happen in a long time?
It'd be great for him. When they showed the comparison of record per school, all I could think of is Clemson a system. Is that why he did so well at Clemson? Was Clemson a system? Should he have stayed in that system?
I also would say,
is Georgia a system? We're about to find out about that too. Yeah,
I think a lot of people, when you say, "Is that why he did so well at Clemson?" would chuckle a wee bit.
Did you see the record?
Yeah,
his Clemson record when they threw that Clemson record up there.
It wasn't awful.
Oh, that was a great record for a lot of people.
I think after the journey that DJ Uiagalelei went on during college, though, I think the funniest possible outcome would be this cat going on, winning a job, and just like becoming a dude down the line. Now, it won't be with the Chargers because if you believe Jim Harbaugh, they got their guy in Justin Herbert, which, by the way, somebody posted a I guess, I don't think it's a meme. I guess it's a stat chart the other day about the comparison of, and let's emphasize this, regular season stats of Justin Herbert, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady through their first 3 years as full-time starters. And he's got better numbers through his first 3 seasons in the regular season than Brady and Manning do. He's obviously not going to be Brady or Manning, or at least he hasn't shown that yet. We're very early. But this is why the preseason is interesting, because you've got that story going on. Now you got Trey Lance looking kind of like a dude last night, but Trey Lance looking like a dude against the Lions 2s and 3s in the first half. Here is all I know. All I know is the wife and I were sitting on the couch last night, and we have been watching the last 2 nights, 3 nights, I guess. We've been watching the last 3 nights the documentaries on Netflix about Epstein and all the people in his circle, because we're not going to bring it on the air, but it's like it's kind of a thing happening in the world right now. And so we've been watching the documentaries the last 2 nights because we're big documentary. There's 2 things we love: documentaries and watching birds. That's our thing. And so
hold on,
we had a goldfinch at our feeder last night. We stopped the day to go look at this thing. I took a picture of it. You want to see it? It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Okay.
Look at that goldfinch on our feeder. They're exceptionally rare because goldfinches, they have a specific type of feeder they like because their beak is shaped a certain way. And so regular bird feeders are kind of tough for them to eat out of. Goldfinches, there's actually a specific type of bird feeder for goldfinches that they prefer to eat out of. So it's really, really rare to see a goldfinch show up at your regular bird feeder unless you put out one specifically for them. But they're also birds because they are super bright yellow. The males are anyway. The females are a little more drab. The males stand out so much that they don't really like to be out in big open areas all that much either, because they're easy prey for larger birds, hawks, falcons, whatever. They can see them a lot easier than other birds that are a little more camouflaged. So it's very, very rare to get a goldfinch at your feeder. We were watching the doc yesterday. A goldfinch showed up and we were like, whoa, push pause. Well, we didn't yell it because the feeder's right by the window and you don't want to disturb the goldfinch if you get an opportunity to see one that close up. Like, it's a very rare thing. So we were like, whoosh, stop the doc. And she's like, why are we stopping the doc? And I'm like, stop the doc. She pushes pause. And I'm like, look at the bird feeder. And she's like, oh man, what? We don't see those. And I'm like, I know. So then we're just creeping up to the window to go get it. And I got a picture of this goldfinch. It's beautiful. I'll post it online because I have to imagine that literally every one of you listening right now is super interested in what I'm saying. Stop it. Stop it. because I posted a picture of this on my Instagram, and I got 4 people that responded. They were like, dude, I'm a bird feeder guy too.
They're all members of the Ornithological Society.
I'll tell you right now, if there's a bird club out there that's interested in Toon Moon members, my wife and I are very interested.
I think there's a bird club you're already part of, and it requires the entire flock. I'm just saying.
Keith and TR just texted and says, Target has a birdhouse/feeder with a camera on it. Just FYI. Keith, I know that. Do you know how I know that, Keith? Because we own one.
Ooh.
I know. We haven't set it up yet. I'm really excited because with this one.
Aren't you sad that you didn't have it set up? Because you could have gotten close-up pictures of the goldfinch.
Goldfinch wouldn't have come to that feeder. Because
okay.
it's got a deeper bowl on it. Because that way the birds have to like land and kind of get up close because you want that webcam on them. This one is really dope in that it's got a motion detector on it. It hooks up to your phone and your Wi-Fi. So if something lands on the feeder, it sends a push alert to your phone so you can log in and you can like watch it while it's right there. We haven't set it up yet, but we're really dumb excited. I went the other day and I bought like a $51 bag of birdseed because it's the premium stuff.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. All right.
It's the premium stuff.
They're attracted to the premium stuff, like most people are, I suppose.
So jokes aside.
Hey, look, Ryan Day's playing tennis.
It's not really a joke because this actually happened. But jokes aside, we're sitting on the couch last night and we're watching the Epstein docs, and it gets to be about, damn, he's got a serve on him.
I mean, come on.
That was a rip,
bro. He's not. I mean, he's in kind of stocky shape.
Yeah, but
you need to quit showing Reese because Reese is not in shape, and he's been wearing shirts that show you that he's not.
Wait.
Things are sagging and
wait.
Look at that. Look at those dudes.
Wait.
No.
Wait.
Look at him.
If Reese is not in shape, you and me are effed, buddy.
By the way, I already know that I'm not in shape. Duh, look at the screen. Or just look across. I'm just saying the shirts that Reese has been wearing lately, it's a bad move. That's all I'm saying. And Ryan Day wearing the V-neck.
I'm getting away
Stop
from
with
that.
The V-neck.
I'm going to get away from that because you saying Reese isn't in shape is going to infuriate me more than anything else.
Look at them. They're sagging, dude. I mean, come on.
The guy's got to be 56 years old.
Yeah, me too. So
what do you expected him to go up there and make him pop?
No, I expect to be wear a darker shirt.
I hope. I wish I looked like that now. I was going to say I hope I look like that at age. How about look like that now?
You already do. So
all right. So we stopped the doc and we watched the bird, and then we start the doc again, and then in one of my simultaneously most proud of my wife and myself moments of elation I've had in a long time. We're sitting on the couch. I'm kind of just like, watching this doc, checking out what's happening in the sports world, getting ready for the show because I know once the game starts, show prep's over for the night. And so we're kind of getting to like a kind of a pivotal moment in this doc. There's 2 of them. There's one about Epstein and there's one about Ghislaine Maxwell. So we finished the Epstein one, which is like episodic, and we get to the Ghislaine Maxwell one, and that one's like an hour, 40 minutes, one shot. And we're like an hour in, and we get to this like really pivotal moment in the story about what happened around her, and she stops it. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she goes, it's 10 till 8. It's football time. And y'all, when I tell you, there are moments in any romance, I think, that you kind of have that rebirth of your love and affection for each other, Like you have those, and it wasn't not this, but like it wasn't even about this. It wasn't not about this, but it wasn't not about this.
You can have this music and it be just about affection.
Yeah, for sure. When you hear slow jam with a saxophone in the back, what I think is emotion. I do think emotion, but it's just one particular one. So she goes, it's 10 till 8. It's football time. And I was like, game kicks off at 8. And she goes, aren't we going to watch pregame? And when I tell you, I thought I heard some Barry White echoing in the back of my brain somewhere. when she said, yeah, but like, aren't we going to watch some pregame? I was like,
see, I was
God,
right.
I've never loved you so much.
And then you just criticized me for throwing out that music, and it was perfect. I understood where you were going, and then fine.
No, you weren't. I just really wanted to make a Barry White joke. No, she goes, aren't you gonna? She, for the record, she didn't really want to watch the pregame. Or the preseason game. She didn't care. She's like, it's preseason. She's like, hit me up when the Saints play. I'm like, word, for sure. Next Sunday, I'll see you there. But she goes, I know you want to watch preseason. So I went in the bro cave. I turned on the TV. I sat down. Because I'm an adult, I air fried myself some chicken nuggets.
So she gave you time to prepare your snacks before you headed
100%
to work.
100%.
I mean, that's awesome.
100%. She said, and I said, if you want to keep watching the doc, I'll get it. I'll catch up tomorrow. She's like, no, I'll wait for you tomorrow. She goes, but I know you want to watch some preseason. Go enjoy the game.
You also don't exactly have a history of
Mwah.
catching up on things. So, I mean.
Well, if her and I are watching something together, it goes to
right.
the top of the priority list. And if it's something that, like, we have a hard time getting on the same page, we will watch separately, but we'll let each other know where we are. Like, hey, FYI, I watched an episode last night. I'll wait for you to get caught up. So I would have been happy to hold off and like let her pull it. I'd have got caught up, whatever. But she goes, no. I know this is like a thing. Go watch your pregame. Go watch your preseason. We'll finish it tomorrow. And I was like, it's a date. I love nothing more. I forgot that I am also hosting BetMGM tonight. So no, we won't. We'll catch it up tomorrow. But like whatever. The point is, preseason football last night and it was awesome.
All right, they just showed a Sonic pickle slush. You want to do it?
Not really.
It's tangy blend.
I like
a tangy blend of pickle juice and lime.
I like pickles, but I like pickles. I don't like pickles enough that I would drink a pickle. I don't like it that much.
But it's topped with Grillo pickles.
I don't care.
Pickle juice flavored bubbles.
I don't care. I like pickles. I will snack on pickles. I don't like pickles enough that I'm going to replace my Route 44 with a pickle slushie. Not happening. Never happening. All right. By the way, the point of all of that I was ultimately going to get to there is that we're in the fourth quarter. Chargers are beating up on the Lions. Reserves are reserves. It's not going great for Detroit. By the way, I love Dan Campbell. They showed Dan Campbell in the fourth quarter. He looks furious.
He does.
He looks furious.
He's not happy.
No, He looks furious. So the Collinsworth doing anything he can to save what honestly was a pretty entertaining broadcast. I love the interviews with the Hall of Famers, especially Jared Allen, one of my favorite players of all time. I love the interviews with all the guys that got in this year. We got our
Sterling
first
Sharp rocking the
Sharp looked very
Gamecock
cool.
pants.
Yep.
I don't know if you noticed that.
Sterling looked great. He was fun to listen to. And something we're going to talk about coming up in a few minutes, we got our first look at the Hawkeye measurement tech in the game. Yes, we are going to spend a bit of time on that this AM. But the part that stuck out to me, we're in the fourth quarter. Chargers beating the hell up on the Lions. Whoever the Lions had in as their third QB of the night throws a pick. It's like the fifth turnover of the night. And Collinsworth, when what's his face says, well, this one, a little bit out of hand, but hey, what are you gonna do? It's you never know. Some of these guys aren't gonna be on the team. Collinsworth goes, yeah, preseason games don't matter. I'm like, dude, shut up. Preseason scores don't matter. Preseason games absolutely do. I bet if you put the camera right now on Dan Campbell and Jim Harbaugh and you said, hey, does this matter? I bet they're both going to be like, yeah, dude, like a lot.
Aren't you normally a Collinsworth defender?
I am not a defender. I'm just not as anti-Collinsworth as a lot of other people do. But
he's not aged well as far as his job goes.
I don't have the problem with Chris Collinsworth that a lot of other people do. I did last night go, wait, my guy. You're calling a preseason game, and you're saying preseason games don't matter. Are you saying that your job right now that doesn't seem like the right move to make when you're on the mic doing the thing, Christopher? Not the spot. Preseason scores don't matter. Preseason games do. All right, we'll talk about what happened last night. Specifically, our first look at NFL Hawkeye measurement, first down, goal line, whatever, technology, because I think if you saw it last night and you're still against it, you're wrong. But that's just me. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. 4 hours of absolute gas. Start right now on the Fan Upstate. Morning, Jersey. This is the state bird of New Jersey. That's a very sophomoric comment, Jersey Joe, and I adore it.
I thought it was accurate. I've been to New Jersey.
I love that. I've been to Jersey, too. And I get it, too. I was in Jersey for like 45 minutes when I landed and then immediately left Jersey to go to New York. It's gray. Everything is gray. Now, maybe it was just we were in Newark?
It's the Garden State, man. How can it be gray? All I know is 7 years ago, 2 days ago, my granddaughter was born in New Jersey, so I spent some time in New Jersey, and I wonder if you can turn left or pump your own gas. Those are just the most annoying things. And the most New Jersey guys I've ever heard in my life were they had a restaurant in the basement of the hospital. Hey, 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 hey. And it's just like Cameron and I just sitting there eating and just watching these guys talk going, that's a real thing. I didn't think that was real. I thought that was just overblown in movies and TV.
We landed in Newark. We had a car. We had an Uber coming to get us that we had scheduled to take us from Newark to the city. But it was like 20 minutes late. So we were just kind of standing outside of the airport there. And I don't know why, like in my head, I had that I was going to get off of the plane and it was just going to be like I walked into an episode of The Sopranos, because like that's that and Garden State, the movie, or like my sole experiences with Joycey. And I walked outside of the airport and I was like, dude, everything, and I'm sure it was just an overcast day, but just everything was gray. And then on the drive from the airport to New York City, when you drive, it's just nothing but concrete buildings. Like just everything's concrete. It's all gray. And again, like you're in the midst of the airport, like the second biggest airport to get into New York City, and New York City, I'm sure that's just the pass-through way that everybody wants to be around because it's the easiest way in and out. But everything was just, respectfully, it was just gray and sad.
But here's what I noticed, having gone to the grocery store a couple of times there, is that the people who live there don't want to be there. And I noticed this because they told us that without being asked. Where are you from?
Here, but I don't want to be.
No, they would ask me where I was from. I would tell them where I was from, and they'd be like, yeah, I'm from here. It's like, oh, okay. There's a lot of, I wish I could go there. Well, why don't you? Everybody else is moving down here. You can too.
The Rob Brown Show on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. It is Friday. Gotta get down on Friday. There it is. I needed it in my life. I needed it in my life, and now we have it in my life, and I feel like a better person for it. I'm Rob Brown. He is Lonzo, reacting to last night's NFL Hall of Fame game, our first game back for the 2025 NFL season. There are a few things that I want to talk about from the game last night. The primary one, and that's the reason I'm not going to talk about it right now, I'm going to save it for the 7 o'clock hour. Make sure you stick around for that, is we got our first look at the NFL's new Hawkeye measurement system. You know what? I'm going to talk about it in the 7 o'clock hour. What's your problem with it? Sincerely. Stop hitting the buzzer. What's your problem with it? What was wrong with it? It took 30 seconds.
The game stopped. No one knew what to do. They should. Collinsworth in the middle of the story, and he's like, and he's just, it just stopped. And then they showed the people on the sidelines. They didn't know what to do. Then suddenly we see a video game picture of the first down. Wow, if this happens during a game, this is going to slow the game down so much. Not only that, I mean, I hate that I'm saying this, put some music behind it. I mean, because all
the Jeopardy theme behind it.
No, because all the noise stopped. It's just like silence.
So
as they showed the thing.
So sincerely, is your problem with it presentation? Like, is that the thing?
Presentation is definitely part of it, for sure. The other thing is it just stopped the game and people didn't know what was going on. And the fact that the cameraman knew, the director who told them, hey, pan to this, showing the sidelines, they had no idea. It was like, what is going on? At least with a measurement or something like that. You see people going out there and doing something. In this case, you're just standing around waiting for the computer. And I think maybe eventually people get used to it, but for now, it's just a lot of confusion. And I think it's going to hurt unless they add some production value. It's going to hurt the game overall to watch, and that will make it go away really fast if people start complaining.
So I'm still going to talk about it in the 7 o'clock.
And I knew right away, Rob is loving every second of this.
Second of
as boring and as silent as it is, he's going, see, and probably pointing at the screen and maybe even jumping up and cheering a little bit.
I didn't jump up and cheer, but that's because I had a glass of bourbon in my hand, and I can't spill that. I broke out the good stuff, too. I got a bottle from Charleston Distillery.
So you're telling me
a red wine
that
barrel
you don't
aged.
know how to jump up and cheer while holding a beverage.
No.
I don't believe that.
No, I very
don't.
much do, but I wasn't gonna risk it in that. Plus, I was also like lean back in the game chair. It was comfortable. Here's the only response I have from this, because I sincerely do want to come back to this in the next hour of the show in the money hour.
By the way, next hour's show, my you're not going to change my mind by then, or probably ever.
I don't expect to. What I do expect is that I'm going to make a damn good argument anyway. All right? I'll say this one thing, and then we will come back and we will, along with you all, the Armada, genuinely discuss and debate last night's Hawkeye measurement that we got to see for the first time. I would, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again and again and again and again and again and again. I care more about getting a call right than I care about it being presented dramatically. Well, when the old school measurement system, a.k.a. the chain gang, a.k.a. a system so inaccurate that we used to make commercials about it as comedy. And you all know the commercial. I'm sorry. I can't tell you what that commercial was about, but I can remember very much the commercial where the chain gang comes out and they set the sticks down and the referee walks out and he turns on his mic and he's like, after measurement on the play in a system and then he just goes on a spiel about how you all know that the concept of the chain gang is kind of dumb. When a guy runs into the mist of a scrum and he disappears in there and then the play is blown dead, nobody knows where the hell the football is. And the referee just goes, here looks good. Now, for 2 football seasons, a long time ago, I refereed high school football. It was I had nothing to do. I wasn't dating anybody. My show was on in the daytime. I was like, whatever, I'll ref some football. That'd be fun. Good way to stay in the game. So I did. And the first assignment I had, it was JV football, but shut up. The first assignment I had was as a side judge. You know, the guy that runs with the ball carrier down the sideline, the guy that runs in and marks the spot. And I got to tell you, when a ball goes in the scrum, you can do your gosh darndest, and you've got the best seat in the house. You can't tell where the ball is when a guy stops. If we have tech to see where that is, yes, these games have 40 seconds or more. Unless the team's in a hurry up or it's inside the 2-minute drill, in the overwhelming majority of a football game, you get 1 snap a minute. 1 snap a minute. So delaying the game literally 35 seconds, which is less time than it is from snap to snap.
Referee timeout. You're taking a referee timeout to measure, so it's however long it takes. It has nothing to do with 40 seconds on the clock, 30 seconds on the clock. When a referee takes a timeout, which this would be, it will take as long as it takes.
It took last night about 35 seconds because I knew this was going to be a thing.
It was an eternity.
You know how I know it was? No, it wasn't.
It was.
It wasn't.
An eternity.
And I know it was a thing because.
And also, I'm seeing it because we're talking about. So suddenly, it's just popping up on my feed. I'm like, okay, was that a first down or not? I don't remember which way they were going. So it's not showing it's showing the line, showing the ball, but were they going that way or were they going this way? I don't know because all I see is the ball on the field. If I could see the field, I would know which direction they were going. And
the play was 8 seconds ago. You forgot already?
Absolutely, I did because I'm elderly.
Well, that sounds like an on you thing, not an on them thing.
It's not just me. They zoom in, and you have no idea which way they're going. So it's like, is that a first down? Is that not a first down?
Still sounds like an on you thing.
Okay.
It sounds like a you problem.
It's not just me. I've seen others.
So who last night was like, I don't know which way the ball's going. The play just happened.
I don't know everybody. People are talking about this, so I don't know. Hey, random guy on the street, did you watch last night? I'm not doing that. You might do that, but I'm not.
So, well, I mean, that's kind of what the show is.
I mean, we're doing that now,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I'm talking about walking down the street.
I knew
Did you
that.
ask your guy at the gas station this morning? Hey, guy at the gas station.
No, I did not. I should have. I knew that one of the arguments was going to be, it takes too long to slow the game down. And I know that because that was an argument about ABS during the preseason. Guys getting online and going, slowing the game down. It's taking forever. When we got to the end of preseason and I said the average time for an ABS challenge was 17 seconds. That is less time than is on the pitch clock. There was less time from the catch to the challenge to the review to the replay on the screen back to the pitch clock. There was less time than the pitch clock. Last night, it probably felt longer to a lot of people than it actually took because you were super locked in from the moment that Tirico and Collinsworth pointed out what happened. And yeah, people didn't know what was happening because it was literally the first time that's ever happened. Literally the first time the NFL has stopped an NFL game to do a thing. Of course it was weird. Of course it felt like it took forever because we were all like, okay, what now? Okay, what now? Now what? What's the referee doing? Are we getting as a tennis, I don't want to say I'm like a big tennis guy, but I watched the Wimbledon finals, the French Open finals, the U.S. Open finals. Might be going to the U.S. Open this year. As a guy who watches like the quarters, semis, and finals of the majors. Not a big tennis guy, but follow it enough that I watch enough tennis. The Hawkeye challenges in tennis, if you see one for the first time, they stand out because there have been, up until soccer kind of joined the fold a couple of years ago, that was really kind of the first sport that didn't just embrace it, but it literally just became a part of the game. It's just something we do now. Remember when last year we did the new kickoffs, right? The new kickoff rules. We got the landing zone, and you can't move until the ball is caught, and we got the new kickoff rules adopted from the spring leagues. And for the first, 3 games, we were all like, oh, this is weird. It's going to take some getting used to. It's new to the game. It looks funny. We're all kind of trying to figure out like what's going to happen next and how it works and all that. And by week 3 of the season last year, we never talked about it again. We talked about it going into the season at length. We talked about it for the first week or two. Hey, did y'all see the new kickoffs? Like, hey, it was kind of weird, right? Or, wasn't as bad as I thought. Or, I hate it and it sucks and we should get rid of it. Or whatever. It was a big discussion point until like week 3. And did you hear anybody talk about it after that? If there is one guy on the face of the planet that I would expect to have kept that conversation alive, it is, and I love him dearly, it's Diesel. Diesel loves, and I'm good with this because I'm a business of sports guy. I'm fascinated. I know it's not compelling radio. I bring it up when it's impactful, but I love the concept of the business of sports. Diesel loves talking about sports on TV. What's getting ratings, what's not, what's working, what's not, how it's impacting viewership. This league's up, that league's down. Here's the reaction, here's the result, whatever. He loves it, and that's fine. It is kind of a big deal. So if there was one person that I would have expected to be talking about the kickoff late in the season, it's Diesel. Because I think he would have had the take of either, it doesn't impact the game as much as I thought it was, and who cares about viewership, it's going to be fun, or this is taken away from the game, it removes an exciting play, whatever. Nobody, even hate, was talking about the kickoff. It's going to be the same thing with this. It's going to be shocking because it's the first time we've seen it.
You really think Diesel watched the preseason NFL game?
No, I was talking about last year. I was talking about year one.
All right. Okay.
I was talking about year one when they introed the kickoff. Let's put it this way. If you watched the preseason game last night, I'm willing to bet nobody listening to the show last night had a comment about kickoff rules. Why? Because it just went, All right, that's what we do. Like, that's part of the game now. The same will be true with the Hawkeye tech. It will be like week 3, when we fully ingratiate it, it'll be like week 3, and when it happens, everybody go, all right, I got 15 more seconds to go get a beer.
We'll see. Will this be what you think? Will this be the norm? And if it is, there's no use complaining about it once it is implemented and is the rule for years. Or will this be like the pass interference calls that could be reviewed?
So
will this be that? Because the NFL will throw things in there and for a year and sometimes take them away. We've seen them do that.
The question mark to me is, and that's fair, that's a good question, but the question mark to me is this. Would you rather have the chain gang in a subjective spot from the ref, which is probably going to be a wrong more than it's right, but hey, drama, or would you rather have a system that's going to get it right way more often than it gets it wrong and have teams that earn a first down, get a first down, and teams that earn a stop, get a stop?
In an age of distrust of AI and robots, I'd rather have the chain gang.
Hell yeah. Wrong calls. Big fan.
Because
fan.
AI lies and they want to kill us all.
Can't wait until the chefs lose a game because Rasheed gets stuffed right around the line and Zoe thinks he got it, but the refs go, no, chain gang.
You know,
say he got
that
it.
Will be awesome because he will actually be playing, and I can't wait to see that.
Glass half full. I liked it. When we come back, Notre Dame's athletic director has spoken out about the college football playoff bracket model, and he's taken a side, and you definitely will guess which side he's taken. I'll tell you next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right, y'all stay right there. BR. Amigos. Spectacular as always to have you.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay, things
Yes, I'm looking up Lyme disease since Justin Timberlake has Lyme disease.
The conspiracy theory. I don't think it's a conspiracy theory. You ever notice that a bunch of celebrities get Lyme disease and you've probably never met anybody with it? It is used by celebrities as a cover to go to rehab without admitting they're going to rehab because you can't, it's hard to get proof of Lyme disease.
Wow.
That's the theory.
Wow.
Have you seen the videos of his tour performances? He just comes out and he just kind of stands there and he doesn't sing most of the songs. He does this thing. So a lot of people are really complaining that he's not doing good shows on the tour and he's been drunk a lot. He got that DWI and it's been kind of a spiral. So that's the belief. The Rob Brown Show on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob Brown, the great Malonzo, and you. Let's talk some college football here for just uno momento. The college football playoffs are expanding to 16 teams. That is an inevitability. The question mark is very simply, what format are we going to use to determine which 16 teams are going to get in? And right now, there's only two options on the table. Option A, which is the option the Southeastern Conference has been promoting, is the 5+11 model. The 5+11 model being the 5 highest conference champions and then the next highest 11 teams. Then there's the model that the Big Ten is promoting. The Big Ten is promoting the 4-4-2-2 plus model. That would be 4 AQs from the SEC, 4 AQs from the Big Ten, 2 AQs from the ACC, 2 AQs from the Big 12, 1 AQ, the highest ranked group of 6 team, and then 3 at-large selections. There are no other models that are on the table, primarily because the power of selection is in the hands of the two conferences that have all the money, the SEC and the Big Ten. And as I've said a few times, I do think there is more power with the SEC than the Big Ten. The Big Ten is going to have to win over other conferences. There was a question that was posed during ACC Media Days. In fact, I was on the BetMGM network live from ACC Media Days, and I was talking with Ryan Horvat about it. And Horvey, who is a Notre Dame guy, so not in the ACC, but ACC adjacent, Horvat said, I listened to Jim Phillips, the commissioner of the conference. I listened to his speech today. I really wish he would have taken a stance on the format. And I gave my theory to Horvat. I gave it to y'all from ACC Media Days. My theory is this. Jim Phillips has one job. What is that one job? Whatever he can do to make the ACC better. Right now, what the ACC is striving for is survivability. How do we exist? We know that at some point, probably 2031, but potentially closer. And after the report dropped earlier this week that North Carolina has already been pushing to join the Southeastern Conference, and you will notice that unlike in the last couple of months when there has been conversation about other schools potentially being interested, in more recent months gone by, Greg Sankey has a number of times said, yeah, we're not talking about that right now. That's not something we're thinking about. We are where we are. It's going to be a minute. He has not done that since the report that UNC has somewhere landed between they've had discussions about joining the Southeastern Conference and they've had discussions with the Southeastern Conference about joining the Southeastern Conference. Sankey hasn't addressed it that I am aware of yet. And I imagine that he will because that's going to be front page sports news when it happens. But we all know that sometime between now and 2031, Clemson's gone, Florida State's gone. If this report is accurate, now we can add North Carolina to the list of teams that are gone. I believe Miami is gone. If North Carolina is gone, it is more than likely that Duke is gone and going wherever they are going to keep that rivalry, the best rivalry in college basketball, alive. The ACC has bought themselves time. How much exactly, we don't know. But that was my belief about the settlement between the ACC and Clemson, ACC and Florida State, was those two teams wanted to ensure that when they leave, they could take their TV rights with them. And if that means that they needed to wait another 2 or 3 years, cool, that's the compromise. And the ACC, knowing that those schools were going to leave at some point, needed to buy themselves some time to figure out what the hell they're going to do to stay afloat. Now, by giving Clemson and Florida State their television rights when they exit, they also likely pushed back the exit to 2031. That's the compromise. So, I do think that helped grant the Southeastern Conference a little bit of power, because I do think that the SEC is likely going to get their choice of the 5, maybe 6 schools in the ACC that are going to leave and be split between the Big Ten and the SEC. And I believe that they are likely going to end up, and I'm not worried about this now because, again, I do think we're going to be closer to 2031 when this conversation becomes a thing. I think Clemson's headed to the SEC. I think Florida State's headed to the Big Ten. But whatever, put that to bed for right now. The power right now rests with the Southeastern Conference. And I think the reason Jim Phillips didn't say anything is because Jim Phillips understands that's a bargaining chip for him. To put the Atlantic Coast Conference into the corner of one of the 2 player conferences or the other gives that argument not a ton, but a little bit more weight. And Jim Phillips can basically work the conversation with both Sankey and Petiti and say, hey, look, if you will give us X in concessions or benefits or whatever, then we'll put our weight behind your plan. Notre Dame, obviously, as a team that is not, and let's just kill this bit of the conversation before somebody texts it, guys, they're never joining a conference, okay? I don't know how many times I heard at ACC Media Days people in the business say, well, you know, all this would be a heck of a lot easier if Notre Dame would just join a conference. They're not going to. They have no reason or incentive to do so. Put that to bed. However, Notre Dame has obviously been granted over the years quite a bit of power. Not as much as the Southeastern Conference or Big Ten have in the game, but I do think Notre Dame, honestly, probably has as much, if not more, power at the table than the ACC and the Big 12 do right now. So when Pete Bavacqua, the athletic director at Notre Dame, speaks, it matters. Well, as the Big Ten continues to push for the AQ model, the 4-4-2-2 plus model, and as Greg Sankey continues to push for the 5+11 model, we've kind of wondered, well, a lot of people have kind of wondered where Notre Dame was going to end up in this. There, to me, was no question where Notre Dame was going to land, whose side Notre Dame was going to end up on. It has been my assumption, not guess, assumption, that Notre Dame was going to back the SEC's model, not the Big Ten's. Well, that's exactly the case. In an article with Pete Sampson of The Athletic, Pete Bavacqua said, quote, I happen to think that there should be automatic qualifiers for the Power 4 conference champions, and there should be an automatic qualifier for the highest rated G5 champion, but Then, whether it's 12, 14, or 16, I think you have to earn it on the field, and those should be at-large berths. I think that's the best way, the most repeatable way to get the very best teams to compete for a national championship year in and year out, and I think most people agree with that, both the decision makers, the general public, football fans. I think that's what people want to see. Southeastern Conference model. More at-large bids. And I was on Reddit yesterday. Let's just call it. I was on Reddit yesterday. They have a college football subreddit that has some 4.5 million people active on it. And there were a lot of people that were in the comment section about this article, this interview with The Athletic. There were a lot of people in the comment section that were like, why this plan? Why this plan? It's really simple. Notre Dame's not at a conference, which means if you go with the 4-4-2-2-1-3 model, Notre Dame cannot have 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12, plus 1 is 13. This is what I've said the whole time. In that model, 13 of 16 spots can only be won by teams inside of the conferences, the power conferences. Notre Dame's not one of them. There are 3 spots. Notre Dame is eligible for, under that model, one of 3 spots in the college football playoffs. Under the Southeastern Conference model, Notre Dame, who cannot win a conference championship, and that means in the SEC's model, is only locked out of 5 spots. That means that, and I'm bad at math, but that's the 11 spots, the plus 11. That means that Notre Dame is eligible for one of 11 spots. And again, bad at numbers, but if system over here says there are 3 spots that you are eligible for, and system over here says there are 11 spots that you are eligible for, I'm dumb, but I got to say I'm going to go with the system that gives me one of 11 spots I can get into, right? So I don't know how anybody or why anybody was shocked by that. I think Notre Dame benefit. I don't think. This isn't a statement. This isn't a thought. This isn't a hypothesis. Notre Dame is definitionally better served to support the SEC. There is a reason that Pete Bavacqua, and remember, Notre Dame has its own media day because, again, not at a conference. Pete Bavacqua was not going to speak out until that's the other benefit they have by being Notre Dame. They can afford, because their voice matters, but because they are not obligated to show up and voice their thoughts at a conference media days, like Greg Sankey and all his coaches, like Jim Phillips and all his coaches, like Tony Petitti and all his coaches. Notre Dame can wait until everybody has thrown their opinions and their thoughts and their plans and their formats out there, and Notre Dame can have Pete Bavacqua and the decision makers in South Bend, Indiana, sit in a private closed boardroom and analyze numbers and do public opinion surveys or whatever they got to do. Send out MailChimp surveys, whatever it is they do. They can sit back in their locker room. They can figure out what's best for Notre Dame, and then they can be the last ones to speak. And their voice holds sway, much like Jim Phillips and Greg Sankey's and Tony Petitti's. Their voice holds sway. I would say it holds less sway than Petitti and Sankey, but as much, if not more sway, than Jim Phillips does. So I am telling you now, I am comfortable with saying this. I think you are ultimately going to get the compromise, and I think we will get it before December. Remember, they have until December 1st to decide on what the format's going to be. By December, you are going to end up with the compromise from Greg Sankey that the SEC will, as the Big Ten does, play 9 conference games. But in return, they will get their 5+11 model. And ultimately, I think that Jim Phillips will now throw his weight behind the SEC to push that because Pete Bavacqua and Notre Dame have done that. The SEC just picked up a big ally in their quest for the 5+11. The question mark is Notre Dame a big enough ally that it'll get Greg Sankey's way without the SEC having to go to a 9-conference game schedule, which they do not want to do. We're going to talk more about this in the next hour of the show.
They're going to try to strong-arm Tony Petitti.
I don't think they're going to try to strong-arm him. I think they've already got him all but pinned to the table Stallone style. And the Notre Dame endorsement is just Pete Bavacqua coming over and like putting a finger down on Sankey's hand, helping push Petitti away.
You don't strong-arm Petitti. You know what I'm saying?
What's that arm wrestling movie called again?
Over the Top.
That's the one. They're getting over the topped. You all are about to be taken over the top in audio pleasure with Lonzo's Sports Flash. Oh, that was a good one. I like that one.
I didn't. Our first NFL score of the 2025 season is in, with the Chargers knocking off the Lions in the Hall of Fame game 34-7. Former third overall draft pick Trey Lance was a standout, going 13-20 for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns for the Chargers before being replaced by former Clemson Tiger quarterback DJ Uiagalelei, who went 2 of 3 for 25 yards, finished the game. The Chargers defense ended the night with 3 picks and 2 fumble recoveries. Washington Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin, who's been requesting an extension from the team for weeks, has now requested a trade. McLaurin has 1 year remaining on a 3-year, $68 million extension signed in 2022. And the Atlanta Braves won 12-11, 10-inning thriller over the Reds yesterday afternoon. Carlos Carrasco got his first start for Atlanta, giving up 7 hits and 3 earned runs in 6 innings, striking out 5. Atlanta had 13 hits on the night. It's pretty good.
to make when he said this game doesn't matter, these games don't matter. I think the point he was trying to make was to the Lions fans of like, yeah, you lost by mucho points. But
how old do you think Collinsworth is now? I'm gonna look it up. I'm just
Collinsworth
he's in his 60s
is
for
60. Sure. Let's say 3. I'm gonna guess
I think
63.
he's older than that, but
I am going to say, Chris Collinsworth, that the game's scores don't matter. The games do. I'd be willing to bet.
66 years old.
Okay. I mean, he's doing great. Looks great. And I do not have the dislike of Chris Collinsworth that many people share. Like, he's not bad to me. Do I put him on the Hall of Fame, on the Mount Rushmore of color guys? No, not really. And I think sometimes he can get a little too, I don't know, casual, I guess, for me.
I think I've consistently disliked him since he was a player. So it's not like I suddenly went, you know what? I don't like him because it's popular to not like him. I've just never liked him. So.
That's fair. Lonzo's a hating Chris Collinsworth hipster. I don't hate the guy. I don't dislike the guy. Like, he's not in my, in my color commenter Hall of Fame, but he's fine. He's whatever. He said last night towards the end of that game in the fourth quarter, Lions down by a lot. They commit their, I think their fifth, not I don't think, commit their 5th turnover of the night, a pick in the 4th. And he's like, and I know Lions fans are going to look at the scoreboard and be disappointed, but these games don't matter. And I'm like, the scores don't matter. The scores don't matter. The games very much matter. There were some dudes last night. Because I was also shocked, although they're not wrong about it, I was shocked how many times during the game that Tirico and Collinsworth both said, most of these guys are never going to play in another game. Most of these guys are going to lose their job. And they were just like, hey, just passing on it. And I guess, like, you're right. You're right. But also,
we've said the same thing. I mean, why is it okay for us to say it, but not for them?
I have said it as an argument for why preseason games both A, matter, and B, are awesome. Like, it's those guys playing in the fourth quarter. No, they're not the best football players in the world, but they're fighting for their career. Like, the dudes who are playing in the fourth when they're trying to make a roster are busting it. And Collinsworth and Tirico were almost saying it like it was a reason to just turn the game off and get to bed. I felt like, honestly, there was a point in the fourth quarter between Collinsworth saying the game doesn't matter. And again, I think he meant the score doesn't matter, but what he said was the game doesn't matter. And Tirico pointing out that, most of the guys out there, they're not going to be on rosters. I honestly thought to myself at one point, you guys are making a great argument for me to turn you off and go to bed. You guys are making a wonderful argument for me to hit the power button and take it to the sack and call it a night. I don't want to. I want to finish the game. And I did, because I don't care about my own health or well-being. But it sounded like they were making an argument as to why I should not watch anymore. Well, I was just kind of taken aback by that.
These, especially the early preseason games, because there's only 3 now, mean so much more than they used to. Used to be, I believe, the third one was the dress rehearsal for the stars, and the 4th one was your last chance to make a team. Well, now you have only technically like 2 games to make a team. And those guys last night, even into the fourth quarter, were playing pretty hard.
Yeah, and the guys that are playing in the fourth quarter, those are the guys that are the 7th DB on the chart. Those are the guys that are proven that they should make it because they can hustle, because they'll grind, because they're going to be the hardest workers, hardest hitters. They can be special teams aces, whatever. And to me, that makes it more interesting, not less. I guess that was kind of the thing that was the most compelling to me, that like I said, I was just a little taken aback that Collinsworth and Tirico were making it sound like, all right, guys, fourth quarter, y'all can head on to bed. We'll see you next week for the next preseason game that doesn't matter. I don't know. It's just, it felt weird. I don't see why.
So would you rather have a younger crew in there who would be more energetic and say less things like that?
I don't think they were hurting for energy. I thought they sounded fine. Honestly, I thought the broadcast top to bottom was pretty good overall for a preseason game. It wasn't like the sound or the gas or the energy or any of that. It just, to me, felt like it almost like came across, sounded like 2 guys that were upbeat, and it sounded like they had their Red Bull before the game, but also like they couldn't really be bothered. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And I don't know. The takeaway for me was it felt like if the wife did want to watch that game with me last night, and had I convinced her to stay up and watch the game, and I was all excited about it, it sounds like in the fourth quarter, based on Tirico and Collinsworth, they would have talked to her into being like, all right, babe, I'm going to bed.
How much does she really listen to the announcers? How much does anyone really listen to the announcers? Although you're more of a what is that, 32 cam or whatever, where they're...
Oh, yeah, Skycam.
Yeah.
Big fan of Skycam. I want more Skycam. Every game should offer a Skycam. Just every game. Game film, Madden style. I want to see the field. Like, I actually had that thought last night. At one point, Trey Lance is out there, again, getting a lot of commentary. Yes, he's playing against the Lions, backups and backups, but Trey Lance looked good. And the story of Trey Lance could be interesting because he goes to San Francisco, but they got their guy, so no point. They trade him to Dallas. They got their guy. He gets a shot. It doesn't go great. But now he's at a place where it's like, yeah, you're the backup, but you're also the backup for a guy that, whether you agree or not, the aura around Harbaugh is that he understands how to work an offense around a quarterback. And I think the evidence was Michigan's national championship when J.J. McCarthy was in charge, who did not appear to be a great college quarterback, but the offense worked around him. So the story of Lance is compelling. But to have a better purview of whether that is going to work out or not, I want to see what he sees on the field. So when the snap is taken and the camera zooms in on just the O-line, D-line, and Trey Lance, and I can't see the rest of the field, I don't know what he's seeing, and therefore I, as a football dude, I don't know what decisions he's making as he's making them, which the point of a preseason is evaluation, and for me, even as a fan, I still want to evaluate as I'm watching. In case I got to call Jim and be like, hey, man, Trey's not your guy.
There you go. It's not an unusual story because we've seen Baker Mayfield do the same thing. I mean, not work out in one team, not work out on another team, and then he lands at a team where he's doing really well. Could the same thing happen for Trey Lance?
That's the question.
Yeah.
But again, for me, because if I could see all 22 on the field last night, I'd have a better analysis of what was actually happening instead of just watching, kind of one receiver on the replay. I think I'd get a better vibe. Same thing true for when DJ Uiagalelei checked into the game. Part of the question mark about him.
I didn't know he was on the team until they said his name. I was like, what? Oh, okay.
Well, I remember getting him picked up. We talked about it very briefly, but it was kind of like okay, good luck. You know what I mean? Like, I'm curious because I also think, and I said this to a friend last night, I'm like, you want to know what the funniest possible NFL headline is for 2025? DJ Uiagalelei takes somebody's job and becomes a stud in the NFL. And heads in Clemson, Corvallis, and Tallahassee all simultaneously explode like that scene from Scanners.
More so in Clemson and those fans who wanted him gone and be like, see, man, I knew we had something. Why'd he leave? He should have stayed here. You know those guys will do that.
Yeah. So
they all have like Clemson Bob, Clemson Joe, Clemson Jerry.
I would rather be able to see the whole football field and have a genuine ability to see what they see and respond to it. All right, it's 7:10 in the morning. That means it's time to run through the three most important sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office and talk sports this AM, because when you do, you got to know what's going on in sports. And that is why every morning at some point after 7 o'clock, Lonzo and I do this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the three top stories that will have your coworkers saying, even before they take their first bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the Water Cooler Cheat Sheet on the Fan Upstate.
It is the Water Cooler Cheat Sheet, the top three sports stories you need to know before you get to the office this AM and start talking sports. When you do, this is what you will be talking about. Item number one. Don't need to spend a ton of time on it because we have, and we will spend more later on, but I got to think the first football game of the 2025-26 football season is worth spending some time on, so let's do that. The NFL's Hall of Fame game went down last night. Score doesn't matter, but if you want it, Chargers 34, Lions 7. Some of the bigger headlines last night, Trey Lance in the game, the former third overall selection of the 49ers, who was traded to Dallas and then sent to the Chargers. Looked pretty good. 13 of 20, 120 yards and a touchdown. DJ Uiagalelei, former Clemson Tiger turned Oregon State Beaver turned Florida State Seminole, checked in late for the Chargers, went 2 of 3 for 25 yards and did lead a touchdown drive at the end of the game. Kyle Allen trying to make the team for Detroit may have opened the door for former Tennessee Volunteer, Hendon Hooker. Allen went 9 of 14 for 91 yards, no tutties, and a pair of picks. Hooker checked in 3 of 6 for 18 yards. He also threw a pick, 5 turnovers last night for the Detroit Lions that also included a trio of fumbles. 2 of them were picked up by the Chargers. The other big story from last night, and we will get into this coming up here in just a few minutes on the show, we got our first look at the new first down measurement technology of the NFL. They are instituting the Hawkeye Tech to have challenges of first down measurements. We got a look at that last night. I thought it was great. It seems like some of you did, some of you didn't. We are going to talk about that later on in the hour. But before we get there, let's get to item number 2. Another discussion we will have later on in the show. The College Sports Commission issued a memo yesterday which said they are loosening its blanket prohibition on athletes receiving payments from NIL collectives. The collectives, an evolving industry built to basically get money from business owners to players funneled through them, will still, according to an article written by Dan Murphy on ESPN, quote, face significantly more scrutiny when trying to sign deals with players than they had in past years, end quote. However, their ability to do so has just gotten a wee bit easier. Now, there are still protocols in place. How those are going to work, I don't know. We will see what the challenges might be to the protocols down the line. But the new rules, as issued in the memo yesterday, say that athletes and collectives will have to show that each deal that they sign will have an athlete promoting a product or service that is being sold to make a profit. Effectively, if you sign an NIL deal through the collective, and I believe this is honestly for even third parties, but I know it is now for sure when you sign through a collective. If you sign an NIL deal with a collective, you have to prove that that deal has the athlete promoting a good and or service that is sold to the public in general and is done so in an effort to turn a profit. One of the things that I think, because I asked the question, who in the hell gets to decide if a NIL deal is of good market value? Well, I'll say this. If there is a business that, let's say, turns $50,000 a year in profit. I know that's a stupid low number, but let me make the argument. If there is a business that, let's say, turns $50,000 a year in profit, and they sign a 4-star quarterback to a $1.25 million per year NIL deal, you would look and go, that doesn't make sense. It is going to take you 200 years to recoup that money. And I think that is the goal of this. But how that is going to be legislated against in the future is still, I think, a big time question mark. We'll get to that story a little bit later on in the show as well. But very quickly, let's get to item number 3. The MLB trade deadline passed yesterday. We had a flurry of moves at the deadline. We did not, however, necessarily see any particular massive star move teams, which is unsurprising. That was kind of my thought of that as we got closer to the deadline. It became a little bit more obvious to me. I did not think we were going to get a blockbuster deal, but we did have some names moved. Merrill Kelly will leave the Arizona Diamondbacks. He's a name I brought up a couple of times this week. He is headed to Texas in return for a handful of prospects. Orioles, former All-Star center fielder Cedric Mullins, who has been responsible for like a handful of the most electric plays in center field across baseball this year. He is on his way to the New York Mets. I actually love this move for the Mets. I don't like the Mets, but I love this move for the Mets. They booster their outfield a little bit, get a pretty good bat in a former All-Star and a guy who was probably a borderline All-Star this year in return for a trio of right-handed pitchers headed to Baltimore. Taj Bradley is headed from Tampa to Minnesota. They add a solid reliever slash closer option. The Rays get a probably future frontline starter in Griffin Jacks. Dustin May, starting righty, leaving the Dodgers, headed to the Red Sox. I thought the Red Sox were going to be a little bit more active at the deadline because I think the AL East is still very winnable for this team. I just don't know that Dustin May is necessarily the guy that I think is the boost they think it is. The Dodgers get a couple of outfield prospects, which is good. They've been obviously hamstrung by injuries, including a couple to outfielders and flex infielders. So, this trade's fine. I don't think either one of these teams got progressively better or worse. Carlos Correa is headed back to Houston. He leaves Minnesota in return for lefty Matt Mikulski. The Astros going to play him at some combination of third and shortstop. He's been inconsistent. He is 31 years of age, but he was very good at Houston. Maybe he just gets back to the friendly confines and is able to get it back. All-Star Ryan O'Hearn and outfielder Ramon Laureano head to San Diego. The Orioles get a flurry of prospectors back in return for an all-star and a pretty good utility outfielder. I actually really like the addition of Ryan Hearn as probably a DH to the San Diego Padres. He was the NL's starting DH in the All-Star game this year. A couple of other moves that got made, not as much in terms of name. Mason Miller and JP Sears are also headed to San Diego in return for some prospects from the Padres. They are headed to the Az. The Padres get Freddie Furman, the catcher, in return from Kansas City for a couple of prospects. Harrison Bader headed to Philadelphia in return for some prospects. This is it's a good move. Brandon Marsh has been not Brandon Marsh this year. Johan Rojas has been bad at the plate for the Phillies this year, so they get a center fielder that is a lot more reliable and trustworthy. But Bader's not the same guy that he has been the last couple of years this year. Is this maybe another, again, Chris Sale deal where he shows up, changes spots, and I don't know. We'll find out. Shane Bieber leaves the Guardians. He is headed to Toronto. Love that move for Toronto, and those are the moves that got made yesterday at the trade deadline. We will address and analyze these a little bit later on and keep an eye on how they progress in moves made towards the MLB's postseason when we come back here in just a moment from right now. We talked about Notre Dame and the fact that they do have some power and authority in the college football game, which is why them throwing their weight behind the SEC's expanded playoffs format is not unsurprising, but also impactful. There's a theory floating around right now about Notre Dame that Danny Cannell put out there, and it's gotten a ton of reaction, and I have zero idea why. We'll talk about that next. We'll talk about the Hawkeye tech to round out the hour. That's all coming up on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Love it. Surprised Skeens wasn't scrimmaging. I mean, he's on the second year. He has no leverage at all. If he was in year 3 and he was a year closer or 1 year away from signing an extension, then he would obviously have the leverage of telling the Pirates, move me now because I'm not re-signing with you anyway, and you can get a huge return. Paul Skeens has zero leverage, and if we're keeping it a buck right now, the Pirates are worth watching 1 every 5 games, and that is only when Skeens pitches. But yes, a guy that is rocking a season ERA of under two, and yet has what? 3 wins on the season? That's infuriating. I mean it when I say As much as I am a guy who says let the system police the system like 99.9% of the time, there are times when I also go full woke and say the people in power and authority have zero concern or care for the little guy, the regular guy. And I think Pirates ownership is the absolute proof of that. I think there should be a mechanism in professional American sports, honestly. And I don't even know what the metric is. I've never really sat down to come up with a formula or a system. But I think there should be a mechanism in professional sports by which owners are forced out. Like there should be a red line. And if you're like performance metrics, numbers, whatever, there should be a line. And if your team falls under that line and stays there for 1 season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons, if you fall under that metric, you are obligated as the owner to sell the team. There's plenty of billionaires out there who want to buy a sports team. The Pirates would be better if somebody else bought that team and ran it correctly. And I'll tell you right now, the only, the biggest drawback that somebody has pointed out to me that I think that is true about is that if that is the case, it becomes a much more high-risk investment for billionaires. And if they are unwilling to participate in that, and you start having teams go up for sale with fewer and fewer buyers willing to purchase them, eventually what you could end up with is a spot where a lot of teams become publicly owned teams. And I believe publicly owned teams are in a worse spot than teams with a bad owner. I look at the Braves, and we're going to talk about this later. Alex Anthopoulos came out yesterday and said, we're not going to move anybody just to dump salary if we're not going to get anything in return. I don't think that's why the Braves didn't make a move yesterday, because I don't believe him. And I'm gonna float that theory a little bit later in the show. Y'all stay right there. BRB. Rob Brown loves the radio guy, Rob Brown. Radio guy Rob Brown absolutely loves validation. Okay? Because
so Rob Brown, the person, does not love
no, he does
validation.
Too. I think, you know what? Let's just call a spade a spade. You say you don't, fellas, but like I think as dudes, we all love validation. I think validation's a good feeling for all of us. And we don't, like as men, I don't think we get validation as much as we should for like positive mental health. But we won't go down that road just now.
From who? Who do you?
Society at large.
Okay.
Honestly.
If you need me to tell you, hey, great job, Rob, I'll start doing that.
You're certainly welcome to. It's going to make me feel better as a person.
Yesterday was an excellent show, Rob.
I agree with that.
I came
Yesterday
away from the
awesome.
show going, that was fun.
Yeah, yesterday was a good show. Today is going to be a good show. So, Rob Brown, the radio guy, does like validation. I like when takes of mine are validated by bigger broadcasters, specifically ones that I like. I like validation sometimes when a bigger talking head than I says something that I go, dude, I what? Like, I know the answer to that. Come on, man. Danny Kanell. Now, I'm just going to say what I feel here with the acknowledgement that down the line repercussions are a possibility. Danny Kanell, former Florida State quarterback turned ACC talking head. He's on a mission. And the mission that he is on is to figure out how to become the Paul Feinbaum of the ACC. He wants to be the ACC's Paul Feinbaum. And if you follow the social media of Danny Kanell or you listen to Danny Kanell on TV, you will regularly hear him make some, respectfully, very silly arguments a lot of the time, and then go to war over arguments that are largely panned. That's the method that a lot of broadcasters ride to a very successful career. I can't, but Danny Kanell's trying his best. So, not terribly long ago, Danny Kanell had a take. Danny Kanell's take was, quote, Notre Dame has essentially hacked the college football playoffs. They have the easiest schedule. They don't have to play a conference championship game. They most likely get a home playoff game. The kicker, if they make the Natty, they get $20 million all to themselves. For perspective, Ohio State gets $1.1 million. They share the rest with the Big Ten. And now that tweet is from a while ago, but like this year. And I read that, and I'm like, yeah. That's not a super hot take, I don't think. Now, I would also like to point out one thing. He said easiest schedule. On their schedule this year, they have a road trip to Miami and a visit from Texas A&M. That's the first 2 weeks of the season. They got to go to Coral Gables, a championship contender. They're back home to Texas A&M, a team that a large number of folks have selected as a dark horse championship contender. Back home for Purdue, then they're on the road at Arkansas. No, I do not think that Arkansas is going to be a particularly good football program this year, but that is a road trip to a very proud, if not disappointed, Southeastern Conference team. They are back home to take on Boise State, a playoff team last year, and a playoff selection this year as the Group of Five representative. Then they play NC State at the house. Again, I don't think NC State's a playoff team, but I think NC State any given year under Dave Doran, any given year NC State does feel like one of those teams that like maybe could be a shock team, right? If they hit on a quarterback, and maybe they did this year, we'll find out. Maybe they're a shock team. It's not an easy game. Then they're at home for USC. Again, I think USC under Lincoln Riley has been a massive disappointment. I think most people think under Lincoln Riley, USC has been a massive disappointment. USC also feels like one of those teams that even though they have been a massive disappointment, they still consistently bring in top 10, top 15 recruiting classes. You never know which one of those classes is going to pop and USC's good. Not an easy game. They're on the road at Boston College, back home for their rivalry game against Navy, at Pitt versus Syracuse at Stanford. If you think that that is one of the easiest schedules in football, I can go find you a couple of ACC teams that got a blessing from the scheduling gods that worked out pretty well for them. What I will say is Danny Kanell's take on if Notre Dame makes the national championship, they get a huge check that a lot of other teams will not get, and they get to keep all of it. That is accurate. And that is the reason that many are screaming for Notre Dame to join a conference. But just to make the point for the 10 millionth time, it's exactly the reason they won't. It is exactly the reason they won't. Because they have, over the years, and, you know, there's a lot of interesting discussions about how Notre Dame has been capable of doing this. But Notre Dame has built a brand that NBC specifically decided is worth having all to themselves, just that one team. They have built a brand and built a fan base that NBC says, we will give you a television contract for exclusivity for your football games that will pay you the equivalent of what the best teams in the Big Ten and the SEC are getting annually for the conference to have the rights to their games. And oh, by the way, what's that mean for teams like Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, Alabama? What that means is in the weeks that they play home games against nobodies, they're not on TV. If you want to watch Alabama take on East Carolina, you got to have ESPN Plus or the SEC Network or whatever site that you got to pay a subscription to in order to go find that game. When Notre Dame plays those games at home, you know exactly where it is, and they get that money. Of course they're not going to go anywhere. So unless you can push back on NBC giving them a contract, which, spoiler alert, you can't and they will not, they're not joining your conference or anybody else's. So you can make the argument that they have hacked the playoffs. They haven't hacked anything because the Big Ten wanted it because they would get more money, because the SEC wanted it because they would get more money, because those conferences expanded so that they would get more money. Those conferences, by doing what they did, Notre Dame didn't do anything. They just exist. And in order for the Big Ten and the SEC to get more money, in order for the ACC to get more money, Jim Phillips pointed out at ACC Media Days, last year was the most profitable year for the ACC in the history of the conference. In order for them to get more money, they propped up a system which Notre Dame got to look at and go, hell yeah, we get more money too. This is great. This is awesome. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody. I don't know what we're talking about here. Like, what? Why is this a thing that people are jumping on and having a fight over? You created the system so that the SEC, the Big Ten, the ACC, the Big 12 could get more money. You created a system to benefit the big dogs, and Notre Dame, over the past couple of decades, created a world in which they got a contract with NBC that says we'll pay you the same that Ohio State's getting from the Big Ten, but we're also going to guarantee you the added benefit of all your games are readily and easily available nationally. By the way, huge recruiting asset there. What? Like, why? Notre Dame's not the bad guy here. I know everybody wants to cast them as the bad guy. They're not the bad guy. They built the brand. They put in the legwork. They had the foresight to make this happen. And y'all created a world where their brand has the same power behind it as the ACC and the Big 12 do. They've created a world where they get the same TV revenue and more nationally televised games. They're not the bad guy. Those of you that are screaming that Notre Dame should be forced to join a conference, good luck. You're wasting your breath. How are we still talking about this? All right, let's take a break. When we come back, last night the NFL's Hall of Fame game took place in Canton, Ohio. And in that game, there were a couple of big-time moments. The biggest time moment to me was the fact that we got our first look at the NFL's use of Hawkeye technology for first down measurements. I thought it was great. I'm going to make the argument that it was great because a lot of you don't when we come back on The Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Oh, man. Where'd that go? Be right back, guys. I got to dig a little bit. Stay right there. 10 till 8 last night, as the wife and I sat on the living room couch watching a documentary, because we're old people, she said, after pausing the video, and me going, why'd you pause the video? She said, hey, it's football time. She said, I figured you wanted to watch at least a little bit of the pregame before kickoff. And I went, love you. Went in the back, into the bird cave, sat in the chair, turned it on, watched a little pregame, and then watched the game, and it was amazing. Not that it was like a particularly amazing game. It was just amazing to have football back on the TV. And there were a few storylines that developed out of that game last night. Trey Lance on his 2025 redemption tour after being selected third overall by the 49ers a few years ago, traded to the Dallas Cowboys, and then sent for another ride, this time out to Los Angeles to play for the Chargers. Cool. I mean, could he be a Baker Mayfield? Could he end up with some new scenery turning into a dude? We'll find out. DJ Uiagalelei got onto the field for the LA Chargers last night. I think the funniest possible storyline in 2025 in the NFL would be if DJ Uiagalelei turns into DJ Dude Uiagalelei. I would love to see it, just because the reaction from folks in Clemson, South Carolina, Corvallis, Oregon, and Tallahassee, Florida would be hilarious if this dude turns into a stud. I don't think it's going to, but hey, we'll see. It was game number one. And the third storyline that is the most interesting and impactful for me last night, aside from the fact that, not that this hasn't been happening for a couple of years. I was a grown-ass man when Jared Allen was kicking ass in the NFL. And seeing Jared Allen kind of look like an old dude now, it hurt my feelings. All right, that's not the third most interesting storyline, but it was great to see Jared Allen, but also, like, my hips and knees started hurting a little bit when I saw Jared Allen.
I think it's great to see Jared Allen, and he looks like he's able to move and things like that. Because a lot of these guys, even though they may not be all that old, if they played hard, you can tell.
Oh, for sure.
And him, he just looked like
a guy.
Yeah.
The third most interesting storyline from the NFL Hall of Fame game last night was that the National Football League rolled out and utilized for the very first time Hawkeye technology for a first down measurement. Now, I will keep it a buck with you. No. Don't you poison the well. I just realized that in the background of that clip, there is a dude loudly screaming not once but twice, "What the hell is that? What the hell is that?" And I love that guy. I do. I love that guy. That might actually be me. If that was taken live at some sort of sporting or performance event, that might have actually been me. So I will keep it a buck. I don't even really remember what the context of the play that they used it for was. It was a run play. It was close to the first down. Usually in a spot like that, it's preseason for me too. Usually in a spot like that, I would write down time of game, down distance, ball carrier, tackler, the situation. I'm in preseason mode too. I didn't have the tablet of truth ready. I didn't get it done.
They pointed out on the broadcast that they probably didn't need to do it there because it was obviously a first down, but they wanted to show it.
It obviously was not a first down, but yes, you are correct. I do think it was a matter of...
Oh, it was a first down.
No, didn't he come up short?
No. He was that much over the line.
Yeah, whatever it was.
See?
I don't even remember, honestly.
This proves my point from hour number one. But anyway.
Listen, it's preseason for me too, all right? It's preseason for me as well. So, the use went in last night. And keeping it a buck, I loved it. Thought it was great. Thought it was a great debut. Now, a lot of people, and you may have picked up on this, Lonzo's in that number. A lot of people, not a fan of what happened last night. I would like to run through the arguments of what happened last night. I would like to run through them. It was first down. You're correct. It was going that way. Here's a couple of thoughts that I have. The first one is, and this is the one that I think is the most easily shot down for me personally. The first one is, it delayed the game. It held up the game. I would like to point out two things. Number one, Major League Baseball implemented in spring ball this year, implemented the automatic balls and strikes system. It is effectively the same technology, but for those of you who maybe didn't watch it or don't remember or whatever, nuts and bolts version. After a ball or strike is called by the umpire behind the plate, either the pitcher, catcher, or batter, and no one else can challenge the ball strike call. They tap their helmet. The umpire calls time. They go up to the box. The box puts the Hawkeye technology into use. It determines ball or strike. They put the replay up on the Jumbotron at the field. The umpire either confirms or changes the call. Everybody gets back to set. We go again. And there were a lot of complaints that challenge system would delay the game, would slow the game down. It's the same argument that a lot of people used about what happened last night. By the time that Major League Baseball had utilized ABS for just a few spring games right out of the gate, by the time that they had tested it and used it a few times, the average length of an MLB ABS challenge was less than 17 seconds. That is less time than is on the pitch clock. So you have 70 at max. The longest ones, if I recall correctly, the longest challenge was like 22 and a half seconds. So if everyone was as long as the longest challenge last year, you're adding 22 seconds per challenge. If each team, if both teams were to utilize, let's say, because I don't think that we had more than 6 or 7 challenges is in any given game. Let's say both teams challenged 7 times. That's 14 challenges timed on. And let's go with the average challenge of 17 seconds. I'll up it to 20. Let's say the average challenge is 20 seconds. You are adding 280 seconds per game. Now, again, bad at math, so I'll use my calculator to make sure I get this number right. That means if you had 14 challenges in a game, which you don't and you won't, but if you had 14 challenges and all of those challenges went 3 full seconds longer than the average, that means you are adding roughly 4 2/3 minutes to a baseball game.
Inconceivable!
If you were sitting down watching a 2.5 to 3 hour baseball game, 6 minutes ain't breaking the audience, people. Why are
you talking about baseball? I thought we were talking about football.
We are. The thing is, the football people against this technology are making the same argument that the baseball fans made against the technology. Oh, it's going to take too long. That challenge last night, from the time that it was made to the time that the ball was spotted and the play clock started again, was about 42, 43 seconds.
That doesn't work for me, brother.
That is, people, effectively adding 1 game clock to the game.
Wrong, sir.
No.
Wrong.
No, I'm not. You can play the whiny baby boohoo sounds or the inconceivable clips and all that. What you can't play is wrong because I'm not wrong.
You're wrong.
No, I'm not. That's your problem. Your problem is I'm not wrong. And the problem is, once again, we have gotten ourselves to a spot where the only argument that you have against it is one of two things. Either A, I don't like how it looks on TV. But again, 42 seconds, and that was the first time. As we use it and as it is put into play, TV dudes and play-by-play dudes are going to start to figure out, here's how we should show it to make it as compelling and drama-filled as we can. And the second argument you have is, I like bad calls better than I like good calls.
Yeah, that's not
it.
That's not what people say.
It's the same as the human element game.
It's not
no,
what
it's not
people
what you say because you know that makes it sound bad.
Rob, are you putting words in my mouth?
No, I am making your argument into what it actually is.
Oh, no. Well, you can't do that because you're not me. Just like you say I can't do it when you say
No, I'm
something.
not changing
you say
you.
that I just listen. Here's the thing. I don't like it. You're not going to get me to like it. If it becomes a norm, which I don't believe it will, if it does, let's have to deal with it. But for now, I thought last night it was abrupt. The announcers were not ready for it. I think it does need a little more production value. Just because it does, because at least let the crowd noise be on while you're showing it. It just, if I recall, it went completely silent.
There was like 17,000 people there. It's not a big stadium. Like, it's not a small stadium, but it's not a big stadium.
If I recall, and I'll have to go back and watch it, the sound cuts out completely. So it goes from you're hearing the crowd, but you got your ambient mic going in the background, you've got Collinsworth talking, you got all that, then to...
I don't disagree with that, but here is what I will say. I think in response
and they
to that,
act completely surprised by it. At least Collinsworth did.
I think
Tirico was like explaining it, but if they talked over it, I think it wouldn't have been as bad. It was so abrupt, it bothered me.
I won't argue.
And if this happens multiple times during a game, it will be disruptive.
I won't argue that it wasn't jarring. I won't argue that it wasn't jarring. I think it was jarring. I also think that it was not only was it the first time that it happened, and I will tell you, as long as I have been doing this, every now and then, whether it's on the radio or it's calling a game or whatever, every now and then, the first time that I've ever experienced this thing happens to you. And ordinarily, when that happens, it is jarring. So it was the first time it happened. We knew going in that it was going to be tested and utilized in the preseason, but unlike last year when we knew they were going to test and utilize the new kickoff rules in the preseason and we were going to get our first glance at that, you know when the kickoff's coming. There was no indication. One thing I very much would like to see.
So there's no producer that went, Tirico, Collinsworth, stop a second. They're getting ready to use the technology.
No, I think there was because, again, Collinsworth was in the middle of starting a story when that happened. And Tirico kind of, I don't want to say cut him off, but was kind of like, oh, wait, hang on. We've got our first technology measurement challenge here. And as they were setting it up, Tirico, if I recall correctly, Tirico like told Collinsworth, he's like, all right, go ahead with your story. And Collinsworth was like, no, I'm actually more interested in this than whatever I was about to say.
He couldn't remember what he was saying. He was getting ready to talk about the speed of the player, and he completely forgot where he was.
Maybe it was whatever happened. He played it off as, no, I'm actually more interested in the
I've seen it enough in radio where interruption happens, not on this program because I would never interrupt Rob, and then train of thought is lost, and then you got to try to get back to where he was.
Maybe so, but he did a good job as a broadcaster of playing it off as, no, I'd rather see the measurement, or he just would rather see the measurement. I know I would. So they cut down to the field. They kind of showed what was going on. They cut to the computer graphic tech thing that showed where the ball was and where the line of game was and yada, yada, yada. They showed all that. And was it theatrical? No. I mean, I guess you could like put some fireworks in the back of the graphic or whatever you wanted. Maybe you could put the players, like shadows of the players so you could see. I don't know what you want to make it more theatrical, but
show the
out,
actual ball and not a computer simulation of it. I think that's a little jarring when you go away from the actual game to show basically a video game, and I think that bothers the viewer.
No. Here's the problem, though. Where the ball is what we're gauging. How am I going to show you the actual ball? That's the spot. We don't want to know where the spot is. We want to know where the ball was. I can't show you the ball because that's what we're arguing about, is where the ball is and where it should be. I got to show you where, according to lasers and sciencey stuff, the ball is supposed to be, not where it actually is.
So do we have computers yet that will actually place the ball where it said it is? Because a human hand will have to do that. And how do they do that? Are they looking at the screen too?
It's just like a replay. The ref's going to have himself a little screen that says this is where the ball gets spotted.
And then they have to go.
Put it there.
They have to remember, okay, it was right. Okay, so.
If you can't remember that it goes between the 39 and the 40, not the 40 and the 41, you're not supposed to be refereeing. By the way, Bill Vinovich was the referee. So, yes, I said a few bad words last night. at my TV, 100%. Bill, son of Avinovich.
Is that why so many calls were missed last night?
Without
Especially
a doubt.
passing interference.
Without
That
a
first
doubt,
touchdown. That first touchdown, he basically tackled
Constantly.
the receiver, and an interception was thrown.
Constantly.
And then I don't know why he threw an interception. I do.
Constantly.
He had a hold of him.
Constantly. So, with that being said, the argument that it slowed the game down, yeah, anytime you do a thing for the first time, it's going to have some learning curve to it. They're going to figure it out. The referees are going to figure out how to make it faster. The dudes on the sideline running it are going to figure out how to make it faster. And the people in the TV truck are going to figure out how to make it look as good as it can. Number two, it felt jarring. Well, it was because it was the first time. And unlike when we did the kickoff rules, which weren't jarring because we all know when the kickoff is coming, we don't know when this is coming. We don't know when there's going to be a challenge. It just kind of happens. And all the TV dude can go is, oh, we just got told that it's going to be a challenge. Let's go down to the field and check that out.
What is your motivation for convincing people this is okay?
Because
Robots? That's what I'm thinking.
my belief is this. If a player carrying the ball earns a first down for his team, they should get it. And if a defensive player is able to stop them from getting a first down, they should get it. The result of the play, what actually happened, should be the result of the play, not what some faulty human eyes think happened. The players should play the game. The only human element I give a damn about is people playing the game. That's it. The result is the result. It's a ball or it's a strike. The ball was across the line or it wasn't. That's it. Like, let's give the players credit for what they earned or failed to earn. There is not a problem with utilizing technology as a tool to make things better. And we have the tech. It's right there. It's been in use for years. Use it. Lonzo's not a robot. I'm interested to hear the human element in this sports flash.
It's going to be difficult with my tired human eyes, but what can you do?
Tell me your eyes are as good as they were back in the day. Mine aren't.
You don't know. Our first NFL score of the 2025 season is in, with the Chargers knocking off the Lions in the Hall of Fame game 34-7. Former third overall draft pick Trey Lance was a standout, going 13-20 for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns for the Chargers before being replaced by former Clemson Tiger quarterback DJ Uiagalelei, who went 2 of 3 for 25 yards to finish the game. Chargers defense ended the night with 3 picks and 2 fumble recoveries. Washington Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin, who has been requesting an extension from the team for weeks, has now requested a trade. McLaurin has 1 year remaining on a 3-year, $68 million extension signed in 2022. And the Atlanta Braves were quiet at the trade deadline. General manager Alex Anthopoulos said late yesterday that the team had no interest in getting rid of pieces to save money. I can't breathe. Be back after I get oxygen.
We got like 7 Dr. Evil references on the chat and the text line during the break. And that makes me very happy. Use the freaking lasers. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Rob Brown Show on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, and you be a part of the radio broadcast. That text line, that call-in line, 844-326-3663. 844-FANFONE is the number. If you shoot a text, I will read it on the air. If you give us a phone call, we will put you on the air. Any sports takes you have, it's Friday. We don't care. Everything is on the table. We had the NFL Hall of Fame game last night. We've had a couple of discussions. We've talked a little bit about Trey Lance, DJ Uiagalelei. We're going to talk a little bit more about that game as the show progresses. We had the Hawkeye technology we talked about in the last segment, what the reaction to that was. It seems relatively split this morning between people who think it is a good thing and it was a positive last night. We have some people that think it was maybe not a good addition and that there were some drawbacks to it last night. What is your thought? Those of you that watched that game, those of you that saw that moment last night, where did you land on it? Steven on our live stream has an interesting response to it. He said, quote, "This is not a slight, but the fans who enjoy football with a U and football with an OT seem to be embracing the technology a little more. I like the fact that if the ball is at the bottom of the pile on a goal line stand, we will know if it crossed the goal line when the whistle blew." That's it. First off, I do agree with the first take. I will say that it does feel as if my amigos that I was talking to last night / monitoring social media throughout the course of the game, it felt to me like the people who were on board with it, or of the people who are openly on board with it, are a lot of the people that I do see discussing soccer. And I think there is a reason for that. I think the use of VAR, I think the use of the onsides, offsides technology in soccer has been in the game long enough, and I think it has been successful enough that two things have happened. Number one, they got it down to a pretty efficient process. If there's a question about whether a dude was on or offsides, it takes a handful of seconds for that to get checked, relayed back down to the referee, and to call to get confirmed or overturned. Number two, I do think that the TV networks have had enough time to figure out the correct production of the VAR / onsides, offsides. They have figured out how to use multiple camera angles and sync film from different angles up so that the timing is there. They basically, and I do think that this is I think this is something that the TV networks carrying NFL games will do as well. Do you know what soccer, I think, really does that makes it work? And I think to some degree tennis does this too, even though tennis challenges are like 7 seconds long. While you're waiting for the decision, and I think this is more prevalent in soccer, but when you are waiting for the decision to come in, soccer broadcasts effectively show you a bunch of different angles, and they create a world where you get to kind of play a game show, right? Like you get to say, I think it was. I think it wasn't. I think it was offsides. I think it was onsides. And for human beings, we absolutely love to feel like we're an expert. This is why even in the play-by-play booths during NFL season, even in play-by-play booths, when we have a regular replay review in the National Football League, what do they do every time? All right, we're going to go to so-and-so, our rules expert. What do you see here,
Johnny. And on comes rule expert from whichever network you're watching, and they give their opinion, and they give their breakdown, and then what do? The three guys, play-by-play color and rules officials, they all take a stab at it. You know what? I think there's enough here. I think this one's going to get overturned, Bob. Well, I disagree, Bill. I don't think there's enough there. I don't think it gets overturned. It got to a point, and I don't remember which network it was, and I don't know if they'll bring it back. But it got to a point where one of the play-by-play booths was keeping their records of whether they got it right or wrong if it was going to be overturned. Like Lee Corso's mascot had. They were like announcing their records. All right, hey, great call. You got it right. You're 7-4 on calling replay challenges. We in the audience are going to do the same thing. We're gonna develop our opinion. We're going to have our opinion, and we're going to, even though it's maybe not the most logical, rational thing in the world, we're not necessarily always logical, rational creatures. We're going to take our stat, and when we get it right, we're going to go, yeah, told you. And we get it wrong, we're going to go, referee's an idiot. I don't know what he was looking at. We love doing that. It's a fun thing to do. That's why game shows are so popular. Have been for the history of television. Because I'm a big Jeopardy guy. Random trivia plus nerd, big Jeopardy guy. I love watching Jeopardy. I have even when I was a kid. And it's for two reasons. Number one, work out the old noodle. And number two, tell me there is a better feeling than when bum, ba-bum, bum, 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 dong, dong hits, and you got the final Jeopardy answer right. Dude, it's the best feeling you'll have all day. As sports fans, that's the feeling of getting a replay challenge correct. By going, here's what I saw, and I think it's overturned. And the ref goes, after instant replay revision, we have overturned the penalty. And you go, hell yeah, I'm a big smart football boy. Like, it's validation. It feels good, man. I think that they'll just do that with this. They will give you a reason to emotionally invest because it makes you want to stick around. They will give you a reason to emotionally invest in this. And once they do, it's just going to become the next norm. And once the TV dudes, because they've gotten now exactly and precisely one crack at it. But do you know what happened when they got that one crack last night? The producers and directors and TV suits for all the other networks that will be covering ESPN games, Amazon, ESPN, ABC, they all got to see what it looked like. Even though they weren't the ones running the show last night, they all got a chance to see what it looked like, how it worked, where everybody was, what everybody said, what everybody did, what triggered it, how they announced it, whatever. And all of those networks that will be carrying preseason games next week, they're all going to have their system in place. They're all going to know, here's what we're looking for the trigger. Here's what the head ref is going to do. Here's what the dudes on the sideline are going to do. Here's what the teams are going to do. Here's what the ball's going to do. Here's what the graphic we're going to get in real time looks like. And they're going to be able to tell the play-by-play guys a little bit earlier, hey, we're probably going to a Hawkeye review here. And so now you don't have Tirico and Collinsworth getting 2 sentences deep into a story and then having to just stop the story to go down to the field. The other thing is, that was the first time that it happened, meaning it was, realistically, the most important time that it will ever happen, at least until Hawkeye comes into, like, determining whether it was a first down on a critical drive in a Super Bowl. That might get bigger. But in the preseason, for now, that's the biggest one that will happen this preseason because it was the first time we all got to go eyes on with it. So Tirico and Collinsworth were, A, probably didn't see it coming. B, maybe didn't recognize the trigger, nor did the producers in their ears telling them what was going to happen. So now in the future, when we all kind of know what we're looking for that would trigger the challenge and what the sign is that a challenge is going to be triggered, now when Collinsworth starts a story, producer guy can go, whoa, hang on. We might have a replay here. And he can not get into that story. I think that, to me, that was the most jarring thing.
that Collinsworth was well on his way to one of his stories, and then they went, no, bleep your story, dude. We got a football thing here. I don't think that happens the next few times that this happens. They'll know what's coming. That's my only argument. Michael in Simpsonville has sent an interesting text to the Hub City Spartanburger text line at 844-326-3663. Michael in Simpsonville says, Rob, the Hawkeye technology is to ensure there's nothing nefarious going on for betting purposes. Gamblers do not want the decision a game left, do not want the decision of a game left to humans. I have no doubt. I don't necessarily know that is, Michael, the reason. I absolutely do think it is a factor. And when
so
you
now
have,
no longer there's, that earpiece that the referees hear is no longer, hey, that's not a first down.
Hey, we just got this text from Vinny. Vinny says, it'd be a real shame if that ball moved forward about 6 inches on the spot. You know what I'm saying? No, that's not it. So now if there is a bad spot, even if it is a bad spot, and you want to go down the rabbit hole of Bill Vinovich definitely got the call from Tiny, who said, hey, bro, that's a first down or you're going down. What do you say, Bill? And Bill goes, actually, guys, the spot was up here. Correct. Now a coach is going to go,
hard
whoa, whoa,
to
whoa.
walk to your car if your leg is broke.
Now a coach can go, wait a minute. Bill just moved that ball forward. That's not where the spot was. Challenge that, and they can move it back. And this is where I do think Michael, to some degree, is correct. I think you look around the fact that it doesn't matter where you are. The NFL is partnered with a ton of, or with some gambling sports books. So is the NBA, so is MLB. They're all partnered up with sports books. They all advertise sports books. Sports gaming, whether you like it or not, sports gaming is a huge part of the sports culture now. And as it continues to get legalized across different states, that's not going to stop. Now, it might stop a little bit, and I won't go down the rabbit hole, but effectively in the big, beautiful bill that Congress passed a couple of weeks back, there actually is a law in there about sports betting where your wins and your losses can be taxed, meaning that either the books are going to have to adjust odds and make it less favorable to bettors, or guys that bet and don't win a lot, not just win, but win a lot, are going to stop, because if you lose, you lose. But if you win, you also still lose. And I do think at some point that's probably going to get walked back. We'll see. But for now, until that goes full on into effect, yes, I think you are correct. Technology removes human influence from the game. And I'm talking about both getting calls wrong that impact the overall game, A, and B, getting into spots where, again, we have not one but two Major League Baseball players who are on leave because there's investigations that they may have been spiking balls in the ground to win micro bets. The more that you can use tech, and there's not much you can do about that, but that's a different story. The more that you can use bets to ensure, or use tech to ensure that the game is as accurately refereed as it can be, the less issue you're going to have with sports books, which are now billion-dollar partners of these leagues.
Can you guarantee you've removed influence? Because I mean, the technology can be manipulated. It can, and we don't know how it works. We haven't seen it. We don't know who's. I mean, it just automatically works now. Once they put it together, no one is running, monitoring, doing anything to this technology. It just. Is it AI that measures it, or is it someone? There's a chip in the ball, and some guy is behind a computer and says, this is what this is, throws together the graphics really quick. I mean, how is this thing working, and how can it not still be influenced by humans?
The NFL's system, I am going to deep dive and find out. MLB's, I can tell you, is effectively run by a third party, and that third party is responsible for the upkeep and utilization of the system.
A human being, though, right? That's what I'm trying to get at. And this is not me going, well, I want to know because I don't know how this works exactly. And I don't know if it's still a human being behind a keyboard making this technology work.
It is.
Or if it's automatic. Once the game starts, you push a button and the computer or whatever is watching the entire game.
It's that one. So, for instance, and I can tell you for a fact with minor league baseball, which the same system's going to Major League Baseball because I've quite literally sat next to the guy running that system at a minor league baseball game. The computer during the game is on its own. The guy in a minor league baseball stadium, they get there, they boot up the system, and then it runs itself. So there's a guy and he sits behind, and in the minor league stadiums and now the major league stadiums, when a pitch gets thrown, the computer tracks every one of them. It pops that same projection up on every pitch. And if it is called for, then with the touch of a button, the guy can then just say, that was a ball, that was a strike. And the video producer sitting at the board that runs everything that goes up on the Jumbotron, there's a guy who orchestrates everything on the Jumbotron. That guy has on his control board, like yours but video, that guy at that control board has just a panel over here dedicated to that computer and what it is displaying as a graphic, which is displayed after every pitch. And if it's called for as a replay, all he does is reach over and pushes the button that puts it on the Jumbotron. The computer runs it and shows it. And when it's done, he pushes the button that takes it back off the Tron. It is not. In baseball, humans have no input during the game. If you want to make the argument that a human could get involved for the negative in a negative way, in a way that harms it, that I guess technically could be done in the coding, the programming, the development, the maintenance away from baseball. But when the game's on, that thing runs itself. There's no computer telling it what to do. It's just that's what that software does. That software just tracks everything, determines where the ball was, puts it on a graphic. It is up to the humans what they do with that information. Kind of the same thing with this. Excuse me. I assume it's the same thing with this. I don't know for a fact. I'd be willing to bet it is. That this Hawkeye tech, because this is what happens in baseball, I'm willing to assume the same thing. This Hawkeye tech is constantly tracking the football. It is always looking for, finding, monitoring the football. And it's just every time the ball is moved, it's going to display. Here's where it was. Here's where it is. Here's where it went. And then it's up to the refs and the teams and whoever's in charge of calling, enforcing, displaying the challenge. It's up to them when they use it or not. But the software is the software. It's going to track, monitor, spit out a result. That's all it does. It does not think. It's like AI. This is the argument I made. AI doesn't think. It takes the entirety of the internet, and when you give it a request, it doesn't think. It just takes that information, it scours the internet, and it gives you results. It just says it in a way that makes it look like it's thinking. It's not. This is why I'm not worried about AI. It's not thought. This tech in sports doesn't think. It just does what it's told to do. Let's take a break. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate.
So I just want to point out, you said, excuse me, but instead you said, it screws me. And that was interesting. I don't know if you noticed that you did that. But
I didn't.
Okay, what? Huh? What is it?
Bill Vinovich screwed me. And Bill Vinovich's name got said at the start of the broadcast last night. And they go, and by the way, tonight's referee, Bill Vinovich, and Tarico started talking about the guy. And I literally just yelled, "Bipe you" at the TV. And Courtney from the bedroom was like, "Who are you talking to?" And I just went, "Bill Vinovich." She's like, "Who the hell's Bill Vinovich?" And I'm like, "Don't worry about it."
By the way, I heard the name. I'm like, okay, why do I know that name?
Because he's public enemy number one
Okay.
in my life. Be right back, dudes. Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Not gonna spend a ton of time on baseball here. We ran you through some of the biggest trades of yesterday's trade deadline yesterday. We'll spend a little bit of time later on, maybe this show, probably a good bit of time next week, reacting to some of these trades once players show up on their new teams and start having an impact or not. But I do want to address something that happened with the Bravos last night. The Braves made a couple of smaller moves during the day. During the weeks leading up to the trade deadline. They sent Stuart Fairchild down to Tampa in return for cash money. They picked up a couple of mid to less than average starters on the bump, as I have said a number of times. That's just to have guys to let you finish the rest of these games in order to A, not blow the arms of pitchers that are going to be mainstay guys next year, and not have to bring up a bunch of minor leaguers to get absolutely destroyed in the majors and wreck their confidence and development for no good reason, as this season is a full-on punt. So they got Eric Fetty out of St. Louis. They got Tyler Kinley out of Colorado. It is what it is. So with all of that being said, yeah, I knew that was coming. The story that I want to get to was the fact that as we got towards yesterday's trade deadline, I think a lot of Braves fans were waiting to find out who was going to be sent out of the clubhouse and who was going to be brought into the clubhouse. The Braves are sellers. And granted, there's not a ton to sell, at least not a ton that looks like it's going to give you a big return. But the team stinks. The season's over. You might as well kind of utilize what you have on the roster this year, send it to teams that are contenders, get a bunch of young cats, and hopefully find the next crop of good young Atlanta Braves. That was the thought. That did not happen. The Braves did nothing yesterday. Well, they got Tyler Kinley, but outside of that, they did nothing. Later in the day, Alex Anthopoulos was speaking to the media, and he said, and I'm paraphrasing, but please know that I am giving you the statement. He said, "We are not going to send guys away just to decrease our salary number if we do not get what we consider high value in return." And I have to tell you, for a dude that after the 2021 World Series win, I came on the radio and said, the Braves might have the best general manager in Major League Baseball. They might have one of the best general managers in professional American sports. I was exhausted, exasperated, frustrated, infuriated with Alex Anthopoulos yesterday, because I don't believe that for a second. Now, there was another reporter yesterday that put out a tweet that I think is probably much more reflective, indicative of what actually happened than what Alex Anthopoulos said happened. Justin Toscano said this, quote, "I'll start with this. It's wild how much goes on behind closed doors. You'd be surprised at details the public isn't privy to, so who knows what went down. My opinion, this deadline reeks of Liberty Media not wanting the Braves to sell more and have fan interest money drop." That is a take that I would very much love to say feels like a salty take. That is, I would like to say, a take that feels like a guy making an excuse or trying to come up with some sort of theory that justifies why the thing that he thought should have happened didn't happen. But here's the thing. The thing that he thought should have happened is a thing that most of us who are Braves fans, not casual baseball fans, but people who are invested in the long-term success of this team, not people who just, I watch baseball when there's nothing else on, and I'm a Braves fan, but whatever, I don't really track them. I'm talking about people who have been following this team or will follow this team for years to come. I do not know, and I know a lot of Braves guys because I've been a fan for 30-something years now. I do not know a Braves guy, and I am talking about you Braves fans who text the show, that didn't think selling was the option leading to the deadline yesterday. Everybody thought that's the right move. Dump salary, go get a bunch of young prospects that you can give some developmental time this year, whether it's in Gwinnett or whether it's on the main roster. Give them some developmental time. Hopefully one or two of them turn into a stud. You find your next generation, and because you dumped all the salary, you've got the money to sign them. That didn't happen. And I have zero justification for why it didn't happen. No one in that building believes that the Braves are a postseason team this year. No one in that building. And if anybody does, they're just disillusioned and naive. If any of my friends say that, I would hit them with a bless your heart. I don't think anybody thinks that that was a realistic opinion. And so, if that is the case, the trade deadline offers you an opportunity as a bad baseball team to prepare to be better in the future. The Braves did not do that. So unless they just feel like, with the new manager next year, Michael Harris II and Austin Riley and Ozzie Albies and all these cats, they're going to have a new lease on life with a new manager and coaching staff next year, which, maybe? Unless that is the prevailing belief, the only other theory that I have is Liberty Media, being a publicly owned company that only cares about its bottom line, its stock price, its dividends, and the amount of money that they can milk out of the Braves now, not in 2026, 27, 28. And this, to me, is the danger of having a publicly owned sports team. An owner, an individual decision maker, if you have a good one, is thinking in terms of long-term success. Because the more often that you are successful, the more money you bring in long-term. People who are beholden to stockholders, they do not think that way. Or they may think that way, but they have to be very careful in how they act to implement practices with that being the guiding philosophy. Because people who own stocks but are not in the boardroom for those meetings, they are going to check their portfolio. And if they see a period of time where the stock price does not go up or it drops, what happens? They call for the head of the people in charge. You're not making me money now. And so you're in a spot right now where the people who are going to make the decision, not necessarily Alex Anthopoulos, but his bosses, the people who are going to make the decision are going to look, I think, at the Atlanta Braves and say, we're a bad baseball team. But if we are a bad baseball team that has 9 guys on the field that nobody knows who these guys are. They're prospects, they're developmental guys. They might be long-term all-stars, but nobody knows who they are. people aren't going to come to the game. And if people aren't going to come to the game, we lose money. People aren't going to tune into the games. And they're probably right for the record about this. People aren't going to tune into the games. And so we're going to lose money. If we don't have superstars out there on the field, even if they are underperforming, if you go right now to Truist Park and you walk into the merch shop, you see the jerseys with names like Albies on the back. And they still sell. Because even if they're not playing well, people who come to a couple of games a year, they might go, you know what? Yeah, it's not great, but like Ozzy's been a big part. I'll buy an Albies jersey just to have it. They won't sell. Which means that you can't make money now in the short term, this second. When Alex Anthopoulos said yesterday, we're not going to trade a guy just for the sake of trading a guy just to dump salary. What he's really saying is, if we trade away the names you know to acquire a bunch of names you don't know, even if those guys might have long-term success and make the team better in the long run, we'll stop making money now. And if we stop making money now, the folks that are in charge of this company, they'll start losing money. And if they start losing money, they lose their job. So what they've told me is, no, you're not trading Michael Harris II. Money Mike is beloved in Atlanta, even if he's struggling. So even if Mike could have got you, Marcell Ozuna, who does have 10-5 rights, which means he could have vetoed a trade. He was only going to go to a contender. But there's contenders looking for a bat. That's why Eugenio Suarez changed teams. If Marcell Ozuna leaves, that's one less guy in the lineup we know about. Even if he gets us 7 guys that could all be stars in the future, we lose a guy who is a guy to watch now. This, to me, is probably going to be a long-term problem for the Atlanta Braves. It will just be this a lot more than it's not this. All right, that's it. I had to get that off the chest. We'll come back here in a minute. We'll talk some more football. The Rob Brown Show's on our radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Stop hiring humans. The era of AI employees is here.
I'm sure you already knew that was up because,
So
you and your robots, they just,
I had a conversation about this not too long ago. Do you know what this is? This is the technological version of the same, and I will call it a crisis because I think that it is. This is the technological version of when companies in years gone by found out that they could pay half the salary to send jobs overseas. If you live in a world where the only object is acquire money, this is the realistic outcome. And here's where it's going to get super deep up in here. And a lot of people aren't going to like it. This right here. Lonzo just sent me a picture of an actual billboard that's in New York.
I believe it's an actual.
It's an actual billboard because if you go look at the comments, a bunch of other people took pictures of the same billboard, put it up. It's in New York, somewhere near Broadway, and it's a billboard that has a picture of what is very clearly an AI generated woman, and the billboard AI is here. Stop hiring human employees. It is the exact same thing, just advanced, of when companies used to send jobs, well, used to, still do, send jobs overseas because they found out that they could not pay as much, which means they got to keep more. I am going to tell you there is one, in my opinion, there's one of two realistic outcomes here. And there are only two outcomes here. And if I take this to the full thought. Outcome number one is at some point, you will have to charge some sort of tax, effectively replace income taxes not being paid by humans replaced by AI. You will have to charge an AI tax to companies, and that tax will then have to be utilized for Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, welfare. And I think, taking it to its extreme conclusion, some sort of universal basic income. Just everybody gets X amount of dollars every month. You can go work and you can earn more money on top of that if you want to go get additional jobs. But everybody at the start of every month gets a check for X amount out of that tax. Or the other outcome that is a possibility about this is that the companies that switch to AI employees do not get charged, do not get taxed for it. It wipes out millions of jobs. It creates a further divide between those who profit off of the corporations and those who have to pay for their services. And we end up with a further wealth disparity that I don't know where it takes us. Those, to me, are the two most extreme possible outcomes.
I am curious if AI Rob will be as loud.
I have not
Because
yet.
if AI Rob is not as loud, it won't be convincing that it's actually Rob being replaced by an AI.
I have not, unlike Colin Diesel, who did this as a segment. And
Would I just run it hot on purpose? Because
I'm not really that loud. There is Colin Diesel did this one day. There's an app you can read a bunch of sentences into, and then it generates an AI version of your voice. I haven't done that yet for two reasons. Number one, even though it's all over the place on the internet, I don't want to feed my voice into a system that is designed to replicate it and utilize it elsewhere, A. But B, I will keep it a buck. I am also a little bit afraid that AI Rob would be better at this than real Rob.
By the way, lighten up, Nettie Mac. The sun, it looks beautiful outside right now. I don't see.
Yes, Nettie Mac. That's the one.
Yeah, okay, whatever, people. What's wrong with you?
The Rob Brown Show on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob Brown, the Great One, Lonzo, and you. I would like to temporarily visit a segment that we got to yesterday, and I want to do that because I would like to tie it in with something else that I learned yesterday afternoon. I played you a clip yesterday from Kenny Dillingham, the head coach at Arizona State University. I'm going to play you that clip again now so that we can very quickly go over why I think this clip is maybe bigger than it's being not discussed as, and how it ties into the next thing that I want to say.
Absolutely huge. One thing, I don't know if people know this, but we're in the process of trying to build an indoor facility. That's our big project. We want to get it fundraised here in the next 5 months to get a shovel in the ground here in the next 6 months. So it's here in 2 years from today, which is the goal. We want to move it over by the football field. We want to use that indoor facility for tailgating in the future. So we have an indoor tailgating location for fans to come and make it an awesome tailgate experience, like the 16th hole of the Waste Management Open. We want to create the 16th hole of the Waste Management Open, or as close as we can to it, in our indoor facility by our stadium here. And we just got to fundraise enough money to do it. So it's good for us. It'll be good for our football team. It'll be good for the fans if we can get it done.
So that's Kenny Dillingham saying Arizona State is working on the early stages of building a huge indoor practice facility, and that this facility will allow the Arizona State Sun Devils to have a dedicated indoor practice facility, but also it will be utilized on game days as a tailgating extravaganza to replicate of the Waste Management Open, but built around a football team. And I'll tell you why I love that. It's for two reasons. Number one, it speaks to the fans. Arizona State is constantly one of the top 3, 4, 5 party schools in America. And the difference between that party school and the other party schools that are always at the top of the list is that party school embraces it. Back in the day, for instance, I covered this team a lot. Back in the day, Florida State University spent a number of years atop the top party school rankings. And the suits in Tallahassee, Florida, went out of their way to fight against that. They did not want that attached to the university. And I get it. I understand it. If you're a nerd, pushing your glasses up, protecting your pocket protector with a larger pocket protector, if you're a nerd, yeah, you want everybody to look and go, what an excellent school of higher education. But if you're a college kid, hell yeah, I want to go to a party school. Yeah, I want to live, man. Arizona State embraces that image. They're like, yeah, we're a party school, man. And like, you may not see the president go out there and say that, but you know what you don't see? Unlike in Tallahassee, who was quite literally paying money to fight that image, Arizona State doesn't do any of that. They're like, hey, if that's what you want to think about us, that's what you want to think about us. Come here, give us your money, take your classes, or don't. It's on you. And so Kenny Dillingham doing something that I've been arguing since the beginning of the portal might be one of the most important things a head coach and football program can do in college athletics, which is to embrace your school's culture. To get kids who are interested in that type of culture to say that your school is the best at that kind of culture. We want to create the 16th hole at the Waste Management. It's the only hole in PGA Tour golf that we talk about individually on this show because it is a raging party. You ever seen a hole-in-one at the 16 at the Waste Management? It turns into the biggest frat house party you've ever seen in your life. I have it on the sports bucket list to have a ticket and to go spend a Sunday at the 16th at the Waste Management, losing my bleeping mind. People come out there in their college colors and they're double-fisting beers, and if somebody knocks down a hole-in-one, they throw it up like it's a party.
What's double fisting?
You're holding a beer in each fist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Why not?
It's the most efficient way to drink.
Why not say double hand?
Well, because when you hold a cup, you make a fist. I guess. I don't know. Who cares? I don't know.
These are things that I don't know. Thank you.
As somebody who is a regular participator in sports tailgates, yeah, double fist all the time. 2 trips to the cooler instead of double the amount. Yeah, it's efficient, right? I'm a smart guy. It's efficiency. So Kenny Dillingham saying we want to have an indoor practice facility for the football team, but if you guys will help us get it, we're going to turn it into a tailgate. And not just any old tailgate. We want you to come out and just get sloppy at the tailgate. That's Arizona State culture. They're embracing it. Oh, that's shameful. All right, your world. You don't have to go. But there's going to be a lot of Sun Devils who will give money too. Now, I think moving forward, you will start to see more and more examples of football teams, of athletic departments that make the very unique culture of their school, of their fan base, of their community, of their region, whatever. They'll make that the most important aspect of their team. And they'll do that because that's how you engage two groups of people, both the fans and players that maybe would say, hey, even if I don't get to play, that place is awesome. So I'm not going to transfer. I'll be a stable part of that team. But the fans are in too. And the fans in the era of the NIL, in the era of collectives, which are not going away, the fans are honestly probably just as important as the football players. Because if the fans aren't giving, the team can't give, and if the team can't give, you're not competing for the best players. So there's something to this. Now, the reason I bring that up is because another school made an announcement this week that I think that, and yes, it's going to sound somewhat silly, but I honestly think that this kind of falls into that same thought, that same philosophy as what Kenny Dillingham said. The Oregon Ducks put out a hype video a couple of days ago. Day before yesterday, actually. They have put up a tweet from the official @GoDucks Twitter account. And the tweet says 10/25/25 wear tie-dye. WEAR, like clothing, like wear clothing. Tie-dye. And I saw that tweet and I was like, all right, Penn State does a whiteout. Like I know like there's teams that do color games. Is Oregon about to try to start a tradition of a tie-dye game? Because, I mean, it's unique, but like, I don't know if that's going to hit as a theme night, right? But then I noticed that they're...
Have you ever seen that many people in tie-dye in one place? I think that would be kind of cool to see the crowd.
Yes, I have, Lonzo. A Grateful Dead concert.
Okay, all right, yeah. So you actually went to a Grateful Dead concert?
No, but I've seen them on TV.
Okay, all right.
Oh, what's that, Grateful Dead? Grateful Dead, a band that's known for guys like Bill Walton loving the Grateful Dead and wearing tie-dye. Like half their stuff is tie-dye. Grateful Dead?
Those people followed, they don't bathe a lot. And trust me.
Well then.
When they walk in the grocery store and they leave and you know they were there.
Well then. Autzen Stadium might be stinky on 10/25/25 when they encourage everybody to wear tie-dye. Why'd they encourage them to wear tie-dye? Because Lonzo, they're doing a theme night. Grateful Dead theme night for the Oregon Ducks. On October 25th of 2025, the Ducks paying tribute to a concert that took place in Autzen Stadium on June 25th of 1978, which was a massive sellout of Autzen Stadium at the time. Over 36,000 Grateful Dead heads filed into Autzen Stadium to enjoy a Grateful Dead concert. The Ducks dug back in the archives. They are bringing it back out, and they are putting a Grateful Dead theme night on October 25th when they take on the Badgers of Wisconsin. Now, when I saw this, I thought, it's a cool theme night. And don't get me wrong, I think in whatever alternate dimension, universe, place that Bill Walton is currently in right now, I got to think Bill Walton is smiling from that alternate reality. He's in love with this.
So, are the coaches going to be wearing tie-dye? Are the players going to be? I mean, we know Oregon wears all kinds of different uniforms.
We don't know. And here's my thought. How dope would it be if they did? How badass would it be if the Oregon Ducks wore tie-dye uniforms? Are you kidding me? I'm not going to lie. I'd probably buy one. How cool would it be if all of the coaches, if Dan Lanning and all his boys rolled up onto the sideline wearing tie-dye polo Nike shirts to coach in? How cool would it be if the end zones on the field for that game were painted tie-dye? That would be awesome. Here's the point that I'm making. It's a cool, fun little throwaway. You look at it and you go, Grateful Dead, bunch of hippies. Makes sense that would happen in Oregon, right? But I would take it one step further, and I would say that area has a lot of old hippies living in it. A lot of old hippies living in it. Meaning there is likely a larger percentage of deadheads in and around Eugene, Oregon, than there are in most of the places in the country. So what the Oregon Ducks have this
is legal there. I'm sorry.
It's Oregon, yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm just
for sure.
Okay.
Play into it, right? This is, in my opinion, and I am very sincere about this, this is an opportunity for the fans to have a unique cultural connection with that football program that I think makes you more emotionally invested in it. That's super cool. How awesome is that for that being the case? Look, I think about this. Think about your school and think about the most popular whatever that came out of your school. Musician, actor, athlete, whatever, that came from your alum. And think about how connected you would be to that if they did that band night. If the University of West Florida, let's say hypothetically, that my alum, the University of West Florida, go Argos. Theoretically, let's say Creed graduated as a band from UWF. They didn't. They were spread around the Panhandle.
How did I know that's where you were going?
Because Creed is my Grateful Dead. All right? I'll travel. Let's say that UWF threw a Creed theme night. And during every time out, they were playing Creed music. And during warm-ups, like their uniforms were all black with really poorly photoshopped Scott Stapp faces on them. I'm going home to Pensacola for that. I'm going to go, this is great. It's my football team. It's a band. They're not from my school. I'm using them as an example. It's my band. Like these guys went here, whatever. I'd embrace that. And that's the kind of thing, as I feel more emotionally tied, that makes it a little more easy to separate me from my money. As many
a grifter in America has learned, if you want to separate somebody from their money, the best way to do it is to not argue with them that you know how to invest it properly. The best way to do it is to get them emotionally attached to you. It's to get them to mesh with you emotionally and then manipulate said emotions to get you to give them your money. That's the best way to grift people. This is a grift, but it's a great grift. It's wonderful because if I'm a deadhead in Oregon and I like the Ducks. I'll watch the football game, but I'm not big into it. Well, guess what? They're having a Grateful Dead theme night. They're encouraging me to go back into the back of the closet and break out the old 1972 tie-dye Dead shirt that I wore when I followed the Dead around the country for 7 years, living out of the back of my van. I'm buying a ticket, and I might even make a little donation to the NIL to tell them that I love this and I'd like more of it. It's silly, it's fun, it's goofy. I hope they go all the way in. You know, like the Swamp Rabbits. When the Swamp Rabbits do a theme night, every year they do an outdoor hunting and fishing night. They wear camo jerseys. They do St. Patrick's Day. I got my St. Patrick's Day jersey hanging here in the studio. It's got like Gaelic style font and it's all green. They do NASCAR night. Every year they come up with a jersey that looks like a NASCAR fire suit. They go, do that. Like, fully embrace the minor league sports aspect of this. It is the best way, I think, short of winning national championships. It is the best way to connect with fans. Kenny Dillingham and Arizona State are doing it by saying, if you guys, effectively the message is, if y'all will buy us our indoor practice facility, we will let you turn it into an absolute sloppy frat party every home game. Oregon saying, hey, if you guys will give us money, we'll bring the Grateful Dead back from it. Are you in or are you not? And I got to tell you, I'm kind of in. October 25th, that might be the game I want to watch the most. The 60 seconds of audio I want to listen to the most are this Sports Flash.
Very disappointing Randy Orton didn't RKO anybody on the ESPN. Our first NFL...
RKO the Sports Center?
Yeah, I was waiting for it. She could have took it. Our first NFL score of the 2025 season is in, with the Chargers knocking off the Lions in the Hall of Fame game 34-7. Former third overall draft pick Trey Lance was a standout, going 13 of 20 for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns for the Chargers. Washington Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin, who has been requesting an extension from the team for weeks, has now requested a trade. McLaurin has 1 year remaining on a 3-year, $68 million extension signed in 2022. The Atlanta Braves won a 12-11 10 innings thriller over the Reds yesterday afternoon. Carlos Carrasco got his first start for Atlanta, giving up 7 hits, 3 earned runs in 6 innings, striking out 5. Atlanta had 13 hits on the night, including Marcell Ozuna's sac fly in the 10th that turned into the winning run. Hour number 4 coming up on the Rob Brown Show.
Need a cold.
If I did that, Steven, I would have got through maybe one story, because those bros talk really slow. Jerry Garcia, man. So I sent you an excerpt from Cody Rhodes on Hot Ones, where he's impersonating his dad. It's great. I watched the entire thing yesterday about how his dad made him do promos in the produce aisle, and he's doing an impersonation of his dad going after the lettuce.
Cutting. Okay, so literally cutting.
Yeah, kind of. It is great. I was laughing so hard. So I'm thinking about maybe jumping out late tonight and going and seeing Naked Gun.
We were talking about that yesterday, Courtney and I. I don't know how we got onto the conversation about how, Hollywood's making a ton of remakes. And I said, well, it's because we keep seeing them. And
I don't think it's going to be that funny, but I still want to go see it to find out.
The promos I've seen make it look hilarious. I'm just afraid it's going to be one of those, they show you everything in the promo kind of funny, But she's like, I just don't know that I care. And I was like, nah, I'm going to go see it. If you don't want to go see it, I'll see it alone. She's like, no, I'll go see it because Liam Neeson's hot. But I don't know if it's going to be fun or not. I was like, that's fair. I'm hoping that it is, but we will see.
Every time I see the scene of him in the car needing to find a restroom and he's letting gas, it makes me laugh.
Do it. Thank God it's. Thank God it's. Let's roll. The final hour of the broadcast week starts now. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Rob Brown Show here on the Fan Upstate. Rob Brown, the great one Lonzo, and you. You want to get in on the show? You got 49 minutes before we get to what the X is going on, and then you are officially locked out for the rest of until Monday. We'll unlock it on Monday, but 53 minutes until you're done for this week, at least on this show. We do have Wire to Wire with Cole Bryson and Diesel coming up this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. But you want in on the show? This is your hour to do it. And I will say, the final hour of the show on Fridays, I like to make them about you. So if you've got a take, 844-326-3663, 844-FANFONE. That is the number to the Hub City Spartanburger text line. If you text that number, 844-326-3663, I will read that text in this hour of the show. You can call that number. If you get on the phone and call that number, 844-326-3663, you get 2 benefits out of that. The first benefit is that you get to have a one-on-one conversation with the great one, Lonzo. And I'm going to tell you, and I mean this, the 2 things Lonzo loves most in the world are hugs and small talk. He adores them, but he constantly talks about how much he loves when he's out in public and people come up and just give him a hug. And he constantly talks about how much he loves when people call the phone line and they're like, Zoe, how's your day? How's the weather? What'd you have for dinner last night? What's your favorite color, Lonzo? He loves small talk. So if you call that number.
Be ready to talk chartreuse. That's all I'm saying.
Big fan. If you call that number, 844-326-3663, you get 2 benefits. Number 1, you get to engage in a little small talk with the great one, Lonzo, which is just a verbal hug. And number 2, we will put you on the radio program, and you can share your thoughts, takes, opinions with the world this morning. So there you go, 844-326-3663. You can shoot me a tweet at The Rob Brown Show. You can shoot Lonzo a tweet at Lonzo on Word if you'd like to go on the social media angle. You can join our live stream. Facebook.com/TheFanUpstate, TheFanUpstate on Twitter, and TheFanUpstate on YouTube. Find us, like us,
really loud,
subscribe to us, and make sure that you are following along with the show all the time. We'd love to have you join the live stream. We do have a chat attached to the live stream, which means that you can drop your thoughts there, drop your commentary there, drop your takes there. We'll read those and put those on the stream as well. And, of course, if you got something a little more long format, but you don't want to come on the air, that's okay. Rob.Brown at thefanupstate.com. Rob.Brown at thefanupstate.com.
Yeah, you knew that was going to happen. I want to say good job not breaking, but you did give me the side eye. And it was brief, it was hate-filled, but it's all your fault.
Oh, no. It was 1,000% doing my best not to laugh because I don't know who that person was who just called. And I have to assume genuinely just asked Alonzo how his day's going.
No, they said, if, and this is a loose quote, but it might be exact. It's my understanding this is the line I call for small talk.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, that's what, yeah.
I need you all to know. When Alonzo answered that phone, and he said, Rob Brown Show, who's this and what do you want to talk about? And then I just saw the face drop. I'm like, somebody did it. You genius. You absolute maniac. Whoever you are.
Oh, my face dropped as soon as the phone rang, even though that's what we do encourage. We do want you to call. And also, if you're watching on the stream, which you should absolutely do, you will notice me cupping my right ear, holding it as hard as I can, because I have to turn my head in the direction in which someone is speaking. Steven says it was him.
Steven, I want you to know.
Good job, Steven.
That's in the 5 years I've been here, 5+ years I've been here, that's a top 5 all-time Rob Brown Show moment for me right there. That's a top 5 all-time moment for me. That was enjoyable. Thank you. All right, let's get a couple of stories in here, segment per segment, for the remainder of the radio program. Again, if you would like to change the conversation, you have the ability and the right to do so. 844-326-3663 to text or call the show. Hit me up on Twitter at The Rob Brown Show. Join the live chat, the live stream. Drop it in the chat. Get at it. Joel Klatt covers college football for FoxSports.com. He has put out a list of his top 10 college football players in the year 2025. Here are those 10 players. We start at number 10. This one I'm on board with. And this one I am on board with because I have been saying on this and radio shows across these great United States, I have been saying for a while, if Clemson wins the Atlantic Coast Conference, if Clemson gets into the college football playoffs, if Clemson goes to the college football playoffs finals, and if Clemson wins the 2025-26 college football national championship, Cade Klubnik in the offense will be a big part of the reason why. The meow and cow offense, as it has been monikered by the great one, will be a big part of the reason why. I do not think that it will be the reason why. I think the reason why will be Clemson's front seven. I believe Clemson's front seven may, bold, underlined, italicized, all caps, may genuinely be the best front seven in college football this year. I believe that Clemson's defense may have the best front seven in college ball. Number 10 on Joel Klatt's list of top 10 college football players entering the 2025 season is Peter Woods, defensive tackle from Clemson. He said, quote, "I love the idea of Clemson running through the ACC and getting back to the mountaintop. I don't know if it will win the national championship, but I'm really toying around with the idea that Clemson could play in the title game. I think Dabo Swinney could have the last laugh around this the game has passed him by narrative that swirled in recent years. Part of that is because the Tigers are great on defense. Their interior defensive line is great. I'm a big believer in building your defense from front to back and inside out. That can be very old school, as some NFL people will tell you that you have to be great on the outside. That's true. But to be fundamentally good at the college level, you've got to be good right down the middle. That's why Georgia, Michigan, and Ohio State have won the last 3 championships. Woods is that. I think he's the best defensive tackle in the country. He's excellent, and has also played on the edge, so you know he's got that athleticism. He can be dominant up front, disrupting the timing of opposing offenses by stuffing the run and getting after the quarterback. You're going to be hearing Woods' name quite a bit, and I think you'll be hearing it early in the 2026 NFL Draft. This is of a front seven that I have been saying on radio stations across the continental United States over the past couple of weeks/months, as we have tick-tocked our way to the final weekend of August when college football gets going. That everybody is dialed in on Cade Klubnik and Antonio Williams and the Clemson offense. And that's fine, because I do think it is going to be an improved group. How much improved? Yet to be determined. But I think it is improved. But I think it is going to be the defense of this team that is going to be the heart and soul. I think it is going to be the defense of Clemson that is going to win them the ACC. I think it is going to be the defense of Clemson that is going to have them in the college football playoffs. And I do think it is the defense of Clemson that will give them their best opportunity to play for and potentially win a national championship this year. And I think that Peter Woods is the heart and soul of that. There's other dudes on this team that are dudes on this team on defense. But I agree with Joel Klatt's take. The fact that this cat is a double team mandate. If you do not put 2 on this dude, he is going to win. There is a very short list of interior offensive linemen in football that can stalemate this cat at the line of scrimmage. Short list. And to be honest with you, I don't know that there's more than 1 or 2 in the conference as a whole that can stalemate this guy. He is going to feast in the ACC this year. So because of that, I absolutely have him inside the top 10 as Joel Klatt does. He's got number 9, Caden Proctor, offensive tackle at Alabama. At number 8, we find another one of those dudes that is a dude on Clemson's defense. This time it's T.J. Parker. T.J. sat down and did a conversation with Cole and Diesel on Wire to Wire at ACC Media Days last week. And I got to tell you, it was maybe my favorite player-led interview that was done that I heard at ACC Media Days. And there were some good ones, some interesting ones for a variety of reasons. I heard a few done by Thomas Castellanos, the new quarterback at Florida State, transferred from Boston College. Why? Because he said a couple of weeks ago, Alabama is going to regret scheduling a home game or an away game in Tallahassee, Florida. And I can't imagine that that sat well with the fine folks in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Thomas Castellanos wrote a check that he's going to have to cash in game number 1, or else he's going to look real bad before they even get going. So that one is very interesting. And some of the interviews where he got called onto the carpet to answer that were interesting because he stuck to it, stood on business. He's like, nope, I'm standing by that. I think our boys can go this year. That was interesting. And still not as interesting as the interview that Cole and Diesel did with TJ Parker. Because this dude is personable, he's likable, but he's a football dude. I don't remember the context of the question asked by Cole and Diesel, but it was effectively getting into his game day routine. What do you do when you wake up? What do you do when you're eating breakfast? What do you do between them and the game? What if it's a day game? What if it's a night game? And TJ Parker said, when the alarm goes off in the AM, I'm up. There's no snooze button, I'm up. He said, I wake up, I say my morning prayers, and it's go time. He's like, I have the same mentality from the minute I get out of bed that I do the minute the ball's kicked off. Same mentality. And they're like, do you prefer morning game or night game? Like, do you prefer building up throughout the day? And he's like, no, I wish every game was at noon. Because when I wake up, I'm ready to whoop somebody's behind. And I want to get to the whooping ASAP. Dude was wildly entertaining. Like, he was like cutting promos. It was great.
Why do I hear Mark Henry's music in my head?
I'm telling you, man. Somebody about to get their ass whipped. Somebody about to get their wig split when CJ Parker shows up. Klatt says that we remain in the trenches, but we're back at Clemson for number 8. I thought about putting Avion Terrell here, but Parker can really play. He italicizes that to emphasize really play. Watch out for this Clemson defense, which I believe could end up being the best in the country. Parker can be a game changer. He was a freshman All-American 2 years ago and followed that up by recording 19 and a half tackles for a loss, 11 sacks, and 6 forced fumbles last year. That's impressive. At 6'3", 265, he has got the combination of size and athleticism to be a game wrecker along the edge. I also think incoming defensive coordinator Tom Allen can help Parker in the way that he helped Abdul Carter at Penn State. Putting this cat in the same sentence as Abdul Carter, a guy that was being considered as a potential first overall draft pick last year as an edge rusher, is pretty impressive. And again, you take all the physical traits that Joel Klatt mentioned when adding TJ Parker to his top 10 players in all of college football list, and you compare it, or you add it to the mentality that TJ Parker said he has to us. And if he's telling the truth, and you add that to all those physical attributes and stats that Klatt gave, this dude might be a dude. I still think building it, like having a great offensive or defensive tackle is the most important thing a defense can do. But this guy's right next to him. There's a reason that's big. At number 7, he's got Anthony Hill Jr., the linebacker at Texas. Number 6, Jeremiah Love, the running back at Notre Dame. I actually really like this guy. If Notre Dame's going to get there, he's going to be their Ashton Janty. At number 5, Ryan Williams, the wide receiver at Alabama. At number 4, and this is, again, I don't get this. He's got Arch Manning at Texas at number 4, the 4th best football player in America. I'm not saying he's not going to be. I'm just saying putting him on this list a month away from football feels kind of weird to me. And it feels weird to me because of the sentence Klatt has in the middle of the write-up. Quote, in the 2 starts Manning has made. You're labeling the 4th best football player in America because of the, quote, 2 starts Manning made last season, end quote?
If you're Texas, you really hope all these guys are right that are giving him this much. Because if he's not.
Listen, as a dude who has been a Manning family fan for longer than anybody else, because Arch was the QB of my team when I was not yet a twinkle in my father's eye. Arch was the Saints guy. I love him. I've mentioned that there's only a handful of autographs in that room over in the Fortress and Attitude. Archie's one of them. I am pulling for Arch. In a weird way, even though I thoroughly enjoy our annual Texas is back, oh wait, no they're not narrative, I genuinely hope Arch is that guy. I really do. Because I like him, and I'm pulling for him. He won me over at SEC Media Days when everybody said, yo, Arch, how you handling the pressure? And he goes, I don't know why you're piling it all on me. I've played 2 games. I've started 2 games. Like, he had the same narrative. I'm pulling for the guy. Seems down to all these other guys. They show up in the tailored suits and the designer shoes with a big old chain and all that. And that's cool, man. If you got the bag, get it, right? Tell you right now, Rob Brown hits that first paycheck with 7 figures on it. I'm buying myself a bunch of custom suits. I'll wear them all the time. Art showed up in Old Navy khakis, a white dress shirt that I'm relatively sure was in like a plastic box the day before, and a blue blazer. The standard freshman, I'm rushing a fraternity not in one uniform of choice. I love this guy. I hope he works out. But to have him as the 4th best football player after 2 starts is wild. Number 3 on Joel Klatt's list is Cade Klubnik, ahead of Arch Manning, I will point out. He said Clemson has the most players on this list with 3. Klubnik is also the highest-ranked quarterback entering the year, as I believe he has a great chance to win the Heisman. Klubnik really grew in a major way last year, and he'll now be a rare third-year quarterback who has spent all 3 seasons playing in the same system. I know Clemson's got questions at running back, but it is recruited well, and I trust offensive coordinator Garrett Riley along with their wide receivers. Clemson also brings back 4 starting offensive linemen. As Clemson had some midseason bumps, I didn't buy into the idea that Klubnik was responsible for them. He played really well in Clemson's playoff loss at Texas last season, which is obviously tough to do. Klubnik finished with 36 passing touchdowns, 7 rushing touchdowns, and just 6 interceptions. He's athletic, maybe not to the extent that Manning is, but he can make plays with his legs while protecting the ball. Things are really lining up for Klubnik and Clemson to have a great year in 2025. I don't disagree with any of that. I still think it's fair to have a couple of questions. Can he take a team that maybe isn't as good as a Texas, Ohio State, whoever else, and can he, as the quarterback, elevate them past those teams that have less talented quarterbacks? That's the biggest question that we have this year, because last year the answer was, unfortunately, no. If that changes, this team's the national championship contender. And just to let you know, because some of you are curious, and one of you is Lonzo, number 2, Caleb Downs, Ohio State safety. Number 1, Jeremiah Smith, Ohio State wide receiver. Clemson's got 3. The Buckeyes have the top 2. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
3 friends.
All right, guys, stay right there. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere. Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Rob Brown, the Great Malonzo, and you. NFL preseason got kicked off last night with the Hall of Fame game. The Chargers beat the Lions. Scores irrelevant. Game isn't. Chris Collinsworth. But now feels like a good time to jump into a very quick rundown of some power rankings. Yahoo Sports put together their NFL coverage staff, their 32-team preseason NFL power rankings. Just because I'm interested in the order they put them in, let's run down them. And I want you, the Armada, you, the Great One, and you, me, to stop us if and when we get to somewhere that you think a team is clearly too high or too low. I do not suspect that we will stop it out of the gut at number 32 where they have the Cleveland Browns. There is the old expression, if you have two quarterbacks, you have none. What's the expression when you have four quarterbacks? I don't know. The Browns are about to find out. At number 31, they have my New Orleans Saints. Honestly, I can't push back on this. Alvin Kamara is now officially on the wrong side of 30. Derek Carr is gone. I hope that Spencer Rattler turns into all the things that I said I thought he could turn into going into the draft. I also am very well aware there's a very good chance that Spencer Rattler starts 0 games for my football team this year.
By the way, just to be positive here, at least you're not last.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You'll get Olave back. Here's the other thing. You know who wide receiver 2 on this team is? Brandon Cooks. That's our second best wide receiver. Brandon Cooks.
He's all right.
Yeah, he's also 70. All right, he's not 70, but he's like in football years, he's pretty close. Not ideal. At number 30, they have the Tennessee Titans, and the only thing that elevates them over New Orleans is the fact that they have Cam Ward. Now, I'll say this. They got a lot of positive coverage of Cam Ward, the preseason hero coming out of Nashville, Tennessee. I'll say this. I'm not surprised by that because they had all of the same hype coming out of preseason going into last year's football season down in Miami, Florida, down in Coral Gables. I had no doubt Cam Ward's going to look like a stud when there's no defenses trying to murder him. My only question is going to be, what's he look like when the games start? Does he have the issues? Does he not? They've been talking about how quickly he's picking up the game. We'll see. At number 29, they have the Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones. What are we doing here? Danny Dimes.
Danny Dimes, supposedly, according to this one talk show that's out of Indianapolis, looking good.
I'm sure that one talk show out of Indianapolis says that. I will say this. From what I have seen and read, apparently Anthony Richardson looks pretty good too. But again, propaganda, my man. Tough to fall for it. At number 28, the Carolina Panthers. Quote, for all the excitement about Bryce Young's improvement last year, the Panthers still had the 4th worst offense in the NFL, and that isn't nearly as big of a problem as their league worst defense. That's why, other than getting young wide receiver with their first-round pick, Tataroa McMillan, they used all the rest of their draft and free agent capital to add to the defense. Unfortunately for them, it's going to take more than one offseason to fix that mess.
Yeah, I want to complain about the order so far, and until this point, I agree with it, and I think I still agree with it because I'm really worried about the defense.
I don't have an issue with not disagreeing with it. The next 2 teams, I would put Carolina ahead of them, and then we'll debate who else we put them in front of. The Jets at 27. A lot of young talent, good offense. We'll see what Justin Fields is going to be. Again, pulling for the guy. But you got Justin Fields. You're clearly all in on a young, needs-to-be-polished offense. And you went and you got yourself a defensive coordinator to be your head coach. Like, that felt mismatched. I understand why you did it. Brought him over from Detroit, team that's had a lot of success. I just feel like I'd put Carolina ahead of the Jets today.
I don't know, coin toss. I think the Jets' defense is better. So,
what about the Giants at number 26? They write that they did a good job of rebuilding the roster. Russell Wilson, who did not look awful in the back half of last season. You add Malik Neighbors as the wide receiver. You got Abdul Carter on the defense.
Come on, say the name. Scatterboo.
Oh, yeah, and yeah, the dude's a stud.
I mean, that alone will make you move up a little bit, I think.
I hope he's the same guy.
I want him to be that guy in the NFL. That would be awesome. They rarely are. getting that kind of hype. Hopefully he's not like Johnny Manziel. I don't want to see him just get in there and then maybe he's the next coming of Christian McCaffrey without maybe the injuries.
If Cam Scatterboo is a dude or is not a dude in the NFL, it won't be because of the issues that prevented Johnny Football from being a dude. And I don't think it'll be the injuries the way that it prevented McAfee from being a dude. I think the issue will be McCaffrey, not McAfee. That's a different dude. I think the issue would be he's a bullhead runner. And it's easy to be a bullhead runner when 9 of your 12 games in the regular season at college are against a bunch of, MAC players. It's a different thing when there's Abdul Carter lined up across from you. And I don't know if that power lasts as long. They got Atlanta at number 25. The big reason they have them down here, they basically say, we don't know if Michael Penix is going to be the dude. 1-2 last year. Both losses were in overtime. Offense averaged 32 points, but the defense also stank. And in those 1-2 games, they were against the 30th, 31st, and 32nd ranked defenses in the NFL last year. So, and I'm fine with that. At 24, they have Miami. I don't have an issue with Miami being at 24. I got questions about Mike McDaniel. I love Mike McDaniel. I think he's the funniest coach in the league. The interviews are great. The press conferences are great. My man, holding up his play call sheet to hit a vape on the sideline because he's a millennial and can't sit it in the locker for 10 minutes is hilarious. He's a nerd. I'm a big fan. Here's the problem you bump into. Having a not football guy mentality and personality can work in football when you're winning. The second you're not winning anymore, that type of alternate football personality doesn't work anymore.
Tua stays healthy for an entire season, they might be all right.
I don't know, man.
But he can't seem to do that.
Keep in mind, your number one receiver, Tyreek's still there. Also keep in mind that after the Dolphins got bounced last year, Tyreek tweeted out, I'm gone. Now he's not gone.
He's not, though. So, yeah.
And Tua, a couple of days at the beginning of camp, a couple of days ago, was asked about that, and he's like, Tyreek's got to earn our trust back. He's got to earn his way back in the locker room. He said he was out. We said, okay, you're out. Now he's got to earn that. And Tyreek hadn't exactly had a wonderful offseason. Jaden Waddle, I think he can be good. He's had injury issues. Devin Achane's the only guy on that offense I trust right now, including Tua Tagovailoa for the injuries. Number 23, they have the Raiders. I actually like the pick here, too. I'm good with this. Now, a lot of that is going to be, is Ashton Janty going to be able to be the same dude, A? And B, what's Brock Bowers' role? Because they got to up it this year. As good as he was and as involved as he was last year, if you've got Geno Smith at QB, where he is in his career, Brock's got to be a dude.
I don't know about Geno. I mean, he's average at best, I think, but I guess that makes where they are on the list makes sense.
I don't have an issue with that take either. I'm in the exact same boat. At number 22, they have the New England Patriots. They say they look ready for a big. There's one reason I'm good with New England at 22, and that's Mike Vrabel. Did you see what Vrabel did at Patriots practice earlier this week? Vrabel's running around, head coach whistle in the mouth, whatever. He came out to practice, and in order to emphasize to the boys why they should fall in line, he came out to practice wearing his old practice jersey. He came out and was like, dude, I was here. I was not just one of you as a former player. But this place is special. It matters to me. And while I would think for a lot of guys, that's almost kind of corny, cheesy, kind of like Mike McDaniel, that mentality. The whole Jim Harbaugh shtick only works because Jim Harbaugh wins all the time, right? Mike McDaniel went from, in his first year when Miami was putting up 1,000 points a game, kind of this funny, lovable nerd. Now they haven't won in 2 years, and all of a sudden people are like, what a loser, what a weirdo. The Vrabel thing works because you can just go pop in a YouTube video from 10 years ago and watch Mike Vrabel beating ass. And he comes out in his own jersey. I love that. And number 21, they have the Seattle Seahawks. I drop them. Tell you why. I'm interested in Sam Darnold. On one hand, looked really good in Minnesota. On one hand, a lot of people think he got fixed.
Better than Geno? We're going to find out.
We are going to find out. Here's what I'm concerned about. This is not new. What I'm concerned about is that the reason Sam looked good in Minnesota ain't because Sam's good, it's because Minnesota's good. And we're going to find out real quick if that's the case or not. If it's no, Sam Darnold genuinely found his stroke, Seattle could jump, honestly, halfway up this list. But if not, and he goes back to looking like he did in the 2 stops before that, which were, to Sam's credit, both dumpster franchises at the time, I don't know. We'll see. I have zero idea what that guy's going to look like. When we come back, we'll run through the top 10 and tell you where the rest of the teams in the NFL are, who's too high, who's too low, according to Yahoo. It's Yahoo, but I was trying for rhyme there. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate.
I've explained this before and got criticized for it. In the rap game, it don't have to actually rhyme all the way. It's just how you pronounce it. So, I mean, So my children are now just making, they're just cooking, which I'm so proud of. Raven just sent me a picture of a Tuscan chicken that she made. Cameron makes curry all the time.
Nice.
If I've ever accomplished one thing, it was teaching them how to cook at an early age, which was not done for me. So there was a lot of experimenting and some really bad stuff. Look at this real quick. This is what Cameron wants to sing for the Christmas special.
I approve of it.
Have you heard of it before?
Nope. But
It's,
I will immediately after the show.
It's amazing. And my wife is like, you can't do that. I was like, yeah, we can. I listened to it. I was like, we absolutely can.
As your Christmas special production director, he has my blessing.
You haven't heard the song, so
It doesn't
the
matter.
thing
The
is,
title alone justifies it.
and it's kind of it's not big enough to have karaoke, so I was like, yeah, this is great, but we're gonna have to have someone play it. And I said, send it to Odie and see if he says he can play it, and Odie says he can play it. So, and so,
Why would you not decide that?
huh?
Why would you not decide that? Oh, you mean play it like on an instrument?
Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah,
thought you
yeah.
meant like on the air. Like, I figured that'd be your
No. Odie's not going to be producing this year. He's going to be sitting over in the corner playing his guitar, going in and out of every break, because we haven't done that before.
Yeah.
Which, let me know if you're in town on the 20th.
I will let you know right now. It looks like a probably not.
Okay.
Since Mexico got canceled, that likely means we're going back.
Go back to Florida. Yeah.
You'll know. Running through as the NFL's preseason is underway, people. We are running through Fox Sports top 25 or top 32 preseason NFL power rankings, their projection of what these teams are going to be as we get the games where the scores don't matter, but the games do, down. We ended with the Seattle Seahawks at number 21. Let's get inside the top 20. They've got Jacksonville at number 20. Described them as one of the most disappointing teams in the NFL last season, and they were. Here's what I will tell you. Number one, I honestly think Jacksonville was one of the best places that Travis Hunter could have ended up. I think there is an opportunity, and I do think he went to Jacksonville for a reason, which is I think the staff there said, as we have, this is TL16's year to prove he's an NFL guy or not. Like, this is his year to do that. And if you're going to put that on him, and I believe Jacksonville is going to put him in that spot this year, then you give them as many weapons as you can give them. They got a stacked wide receiver room with Travis Hunter in it. They got a good tight end. Running game, we'll find out what it's like. Offensive line, better. Not great, but better. Here's the thing. They also went and they got Liam Cohen, who worked with Baker Mayfield. When Canales left, we all said, is Baker going to be able to be Baker without Dave Canales? Turns out the answer was yes, and that is largely because of Liam Cohen. Todd Bowles is the HC in Tampa Bay, a defensive guy. Liam Cohen ran the offensive show. I've already told you, my projection, this is a better year for Trevor Lawrence than the last couple of years have been because he's got stability, an offensive head coach who understands, and the most weaponry that he has had to work with since he showed up.
You know what he also has, though? Something that he hasn't had since Urban Myers was there. A bunch of eyes on him because of Travis Hunter.
I don't
so
disagree.
There's going to be more. He's been able to. It hasn't worked out, but he's been able to be, just be down there in Jacksonville and not people constantly watching that team. Now he's going to have a lot of media attention.
I fully and entirely agree with you.
And by the way, I think that will help him because I think that he got used to that at Clemson, and I think that will be more of a help than it will be a deterrent.
We'll find out. I think they got the best available option as a coach outside of Ben Johnson, but he was never going to Jacksonville. I think they got the best available coach to partner with him. They went and got him a weapon in Travis Hunter. They went and got themselves a weapon in Travis Hunter. You pair him with Brian Marshall Jr., who I've said a lot of times after the draft last year. If Malik Neighbors wasn't in the same wide receiver room as BMJ was, that would have been the dude we were all talking about going into the draft last year. He just got overshadowed by one of the best wide receivers to come out of college football in the last couple of years. They've got Dallas at number 19 on the power rankings. They say it's easy to blame the injury of Dak Prescott last year, but they also point out they were 3-5 and the defense was hideous. I've already asked the question, and I'm going to stand on it until I get an answer to the alternative. I do have to wonder how much, if any, or if a lot, the impact of the drama around Micah Parsons impacts the mentality of the team, because I have also pointed out I have been in jobs where fear of management, owner, whatever, has put me in the mindset of the best thing I can do is the bare minimum I'm obligated to. If I try to go above and beyond and I get it wrong, I'm going to get chewed out, get a demotion, whatever. So I'm going to do the absolute bare minimum. I wonder how many people in that locker room, and I'd be confident saying the answer ain't zero, how many people in that room are like, hey, I'm just going to do my contract here and move on because they clearly aren't going to pay me if I'm a star.
Don't you think they're a little high?
At 19? No, I don't, because I do think I think all the talent's in the locker room.
What did you say their record was last year?
I don't remember the final record, but they were 3-5 to start the year, and then they stank after. But again, because Dak Prescott got busted up last year, you added George Pickens, opposite side. Let me put it this way: if this team was fully bought in, and if Brian Schottenheimer is really a good coach, and not just the guy who in the head coaching circle was the best at putting his lips on Jerry's ass, I think this team has got the talent on paper to be an NFC contender, legitimately. I just don't know what their head coach is because he was not mentioned in anybody's job hunt, but he was Jerry's guy. I think it's a yes man hire. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. Just ahead of Dallas, they have the San Francisco 49ers. I've seen a lot of people who think this is too low. I don't. I think, and I do not think that, I've been told this is a hot take. I do not believe this to be a hot take. I think San Francisco is going to find out real quick just how valuable Deebo Samuel was.
I was going to say, Deebo being gone, I think is going to hurt them a great deal.
I have said that to a couple of people. Ryan Horvat and I had this out on BetMGM tonight a couple of weeks ago. He's got San Francisco winning the NFC. I'm like, dude, you're nuts. I think you're going to find out very quickly how important having him, because he's not just a, obviously, super talented wide receiver / wingback / running back, and occasional, if you need him, quarterback. He's also a master at what I call the Reggie Bush position, which is even when he doesn't have the ball, you still better put guys at him. Because if I run him out of the play as a distraction and I see you're not sending somebody on him, I'm running that same play again, but I'm actually going to throw him the ball, even if it's no way, shape, or form designed to get him the ball. Because if you fall asleep on Deebo, he's going to scorch you. And a lot of people go, oh, he showed up fat to the Commanders camp, Rob. He was in the offseason. He's in the offseason. When I was off for 2 weeks getting married, I put on like 15 pounds immediately too. I'm going to go ahead and tell you when Deebo Samuel gets to week 1, he's going to be in shape. I think they're going to find out very quickly. There is only one question. Christian McCaffrey has had 2 fully healthy years in the last 7. Can he have number 3 and 8? If the answer to that is no, San Francisco's irrelevant. I really believe that. Chicago at number 17. I'd have Chicago lower even though I believe in Chicago. I'd have them lower. I think talent on offense, they've got as much as they want of it. Defense, I got questions about. But is Ben Johnson the guy or not? Is Caleb Williams the guy or not? I would actually have Chicago lower than this. Denver at 16, fine with that ranking. Sean Payton got the most out of Bo Nix. I owed him an apology letter and an edible arrangement last year because of how good Bo Nix was. Defense, top 10 defense last year. We're all dialed in on Payton and Bo Nix. They had a top 5 defense and they got better. I think they're fine. I might even move them up. They've got Minnesota at 15. There is one reason and one reason alone Minnesota's at 15. Because not a lot of people believe in J.J. McCarthy. That's it. That's it. But I will say this. I do believe that if the Minnesota Vikings were capable of earning Kirk Cousins a $100 million contract and then Sam Darnold a $100 million quarterback, clearly Kevin O'Connell knows how to work an offense around a quarterback. I think they'll be okay. And also, I'm pretty sure if you gave me Justin Jefferson, I could throw for 200 yards in a game. The old bleep it, Jefferson's down there somewhere routine. Number 14, they got Arizona. I think this is, we're going to agree this one's too high, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Out of 2. They got better on the line. They added some defensive backs. I don't know, man. They actually, surprisingly, were ranked 11th offensively overall last year, but they were also consistent. And I'm going to say this. I'm not saying I'm out. I'm not saying it's over. I'm not saying he's cooked. Marvin Harrison Jr. has looked terrible.
All right, just stop it. Just stop it. For some reason, you've had it out for Marvin Harrison Jr. It could be the quarterback. I mean, I'm just saying, could be the quarterback.
I'm not saying it couldn't be. I'm saying, I'm not giving the reason why he has. I'm just saying he has not looked good so far.
Yes, through bias, I am protecting one of my own. Whatever.
No, he'll admit that.
Yeah.
Number 13, let's run through the rest of these very quickly. Number 13, they have the Houston
have
Texans.
time, by the way.
We got like 2 minutes.
No, we have time. We can go a little bit later.
All right. Houston Texans at number 13. I'm going to be honest with you. Everybody wrote it up last year as like, oh, CJ had a sophomore slump. He got sacked 52 times last year. And do you know what they did to try to fix it? They did go get a bunch of offensive linemen. Cam Robinson, Trent Brown, Laken Tomlinson. They drafted Ariante Ursay. Like, they added an offensive line. Here's the problem. It's an all-new, brand-new offensive line. And the question is, do they gel and are they good?
Gelling's important.
100%. Do they gel and are they good? Or are the Texans way out of the mix by the time they do? I'm fine with them at 13. Number 12, they have the LA Rams. This is a team I'd actually move up. I think the Rams are going to be good this year. They lose Cooper Kupp, but Cooper Kupp was declining. We all know the talent they have because they added Devontae Adams. And I think Devontae's got a revenge tour year in him this year. And by the way, I think Matt Stafford's in his last year. It's his year to prove something on the way out the door. I'd have them higher. I'd have them higher than Tampa Bay at number 11. They lose Tristan Wirfs for a few games. He's got an injury. He'll get back. I do like, and by the way, Baker has been very complimentary. I'll compliment a Buckeye wide receiver to balance this out here. So from what I understand, Emeka Egbuka looks like a stud in Tampa right now.
Wide receiver, the Ohio State.
We add him to Evans and Godwin. They may end up with one of the top 4 or 5 wide receiver rooms in the NFL.
And a pretty good quarterback to throw it to him.
And they brought Hassan Reddick down, too. Like, Tampa might be better this year than they've been the last couple of years. Question is, when losing Liam Cohen, would they lose from the offense in terms of play calling?
They're better than Atlanta. I don't care what.
No, I agree with that. Yeah. For the record, on paper, they're better than everybody else in the NFC South. The question is there 2, 3, 4 games of separation? Is there 1 game of separation? Or does the offense regress? They got the Chargers at number 10. I'm honestly okay with this.
Yeah, me too. Obviously, Harbaugh is a very good NFL coach, and he's already turned them around.
Yeah, he's got what, like a 52-22 head coaching record as NFL coach.
He's pretty good.
I love Amari in Hampton. Justin Herbert, you can criticize his playoff play all day long. He's been great in the regular season. I like this team a lot. Number 9, they've got the Detroit Lions. To be honest, I'm good with this too. You lost both coordinators, and as we know, this team constantly gets itself hurt down the stretch. Now, I think Detroit could be in competition for winning the NFC, but I've also pointed out they might be in the toughest division in football.
Maybe why they didn't play anybody last night. It's just like, yeah, we're going to keep everybody safe. All you guys go out and play.
Number 8, the Cincinnati Bengals. They may have the best wide receiver room in football. Problem is, They have, in my opinion, the worst defense in football. I love Joey B. Big fossil guy, by the way. Love Joey B. I'd have Cincinnati hanging out around 16. That's how bad the defense is. Number 7, the Washington Commanders. Terry McLaurin requested a trade yesterday. Let me be honest with you. He's not going anywhere. He requested a trade. He's got all the leverage. Want to know? Want to see me prove it? They brought in Debo, who's not a primary wide receiver. He's a weapon. Name the next pass catcher on that Commanders team right now. Just anybody else. They have nobody.
Yeah, I cannot.
They will be picking up guys cut from other squads to fill out the wide receiver room. They have to have them. It's a leverage move by McLaurin. He's getting paid. I guarantee that. Number 6, Pittsburgh. You know why they're here. Mike Tomlin, Aaron Rodgers. I think they're a little high at 6.
DK Metcalf.
Do you think they're high? You have to think they're high at 6, right? Behind Detroit. I mean, ahead of Detroit. Come on now. Come on now.
I don't know.
Like
they have a winning record every year.
Cool. Number 5, the Green Bay Packers. I'm good with that. Number 4, the Buffalo Bills. I'm good with that. Number 3, the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm honestly good with that.
Yeah.
Number 2, the Baltimore Ravens. Number 1, the Philadelphia Eagles. I've sprint through the last 5 because I don't have a problem with any of them.
I'm okay with the disrespect because that's exactly what it is, and we'll see what happens.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
All right, the first thing that's Xing as we finish up this week is Triple H.
Okay, the reason Triple H is trending is because Triple H yesterday stood next to President Donald Trump during a press conference where he was talking about, he talked a lot about college sports. Sign an executive order. Again, executive orders don't become law. This is something Congress will have to approve and all that.
No time for all that. But you're
well,
right.
It's the reason it's trending. Triple H was there standing next to him, and I'm just going to say this. I think Triple H thought he was there for something else because he was just kind of like,
yeah, he's always like that. This just goes out to all the wrestling haters. All right, the next thing that's Xing is Happy Spider-Man Day.
Okay. Is there a National Spider-Man Day?
Apparently today is Spider-Man Day. I was not aware.
I was not aware.
I felt bad that I didn't know, but now I do know. So now we got to celebrate.
And we will. Which, you know what, because we talked about it earlier, I'm going to go home and watch Spider-Man 3. It's a cult movie with the black suit and the dumb dancing, I love it.
If you take the slap out of it, man, that's everything else I'm good, but the slap was,
I don't disagree. I agree. Let me tell you, I got one more take. Can we be honest? The landlords, the older I get, the more I realize that the true wife material for Spider-Man was not MJ. It was the landlord's daughter who brought him cookies. That's the girl you want to marry, Peter Parker.
Yeah, she was very skinny, but not ugly. And she
was cute.
Yeah, she was, I think she was a Russian model, if I recall. But she took care of him. And that's what you want. That's what every guy needs.
MJ was selfish and interior based. This young lady was baking him fresh cookies every day. That's wife material, Peter. You screwed up.
MJ was a different guy every movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah,
Fickle.
easy pick. The older I get, the more I'm like, no, landlord's daughter was the right pick there. That's the love story.
And the last thing that's Xing is SummerSlam.
SummerSlam this weekend. We'll talk about it probably a little bit on Monday, and then definitely next Thursday at 9:20 when we do Fight Club, which I have never forgotten back about in the history of this show. Thanks for being here. Have a great weekend. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. If you didn't enjoy the show, it's your own fault. Come back Monday because we will do it all over again, but better. He's Lonzo. I'm Rob. Have a great weekend. I'll be on BetMGM tonight, by the way, 7 to 11. See you there. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Later.
Really? We went train there? Train?
Horn.
I know, but...
Sally Horn.
Okay.
Awesome. Appreciate you being here,
Peace
buddy.
be unto you also, Austin.
Oh, man. Isn't Aunt May his aunt through marriage because Melissa? That would be Tomei. Greatest Aunt May in Spider-Verse history.
Who, of course, said she regretted playing the role, as they all do. But
'Cause they killed her.
They took the money.
Yeah. Why did she say she regretted playing the role? I didn't hear that.
I forget, but it has to do with it being a superhero movie and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people who, after they do superhero movies, are like, "Oh, not really my thing." I'm like,
well, don't take the check. Yeah. I mean, no one said, "Hey, you have to play this role."
I'd like to go on the record. James Gunn, Kevin Feige, I would love to be in a superhero movie. I'll be anybody. You can kill me off.
I will cut my hair, be Uncle Ben, and die. I mean, that's good. I'm good with that.
You know who I would be? I want to be different universe, older Peter Parker. I want to be 40-year-old Peter Parker who's dealing with the fact that he's aging. Spider-Man.
You mean like Across the Spider-Verse?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to be, what's his name's Peter Parker. That's it. That's it. I want to be, no, I don't. I want to do young Uncle Ben, an Aunt May movie where I'm Uncle Ben and Marissa Tomei is Aunt May.
There you go.
That's what. All right, guys, thanks for being here. You're all amazing people. Tell your friends about us. We're trying to get rich, famous, and retired. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your final weekend of football. Your final weekend of no football. Dang, I screwed up. That would have been an impactful close. Enjoy your final weekend with no football. Next week, we get hot and heavy. See you then. Goodbye.